This is disaster for the Houston Outlaws.
Sometimes the knockouts that hurt the worst are the ones you don't see coming.
The point? The point?
No.
No!
But with it, the playoff picture comes clearer into focus. The playoffs are in full swing, and this is where legends are born.
What better person, really, than it just to be Decay?
That is maximum BM.
But it doesn't matter what you did.
Someone stop this man, please!
All that matters is what you'll do.
Are you kidding me?
Can you capture the moment?
Gesture, just knocking people around.
Can you rewrite your history?
Huge opportunity for New York now to finish this off.
Can you defend your title?
Shots starting to storm towards the end.
This is what counts.
What a clinic, what a performance!
This is where stars shine brightest.
Unstoppable.
This is for the history books.
You expect nothing less.
How will you be remembered?
Directly to the face. I can't believe this.
There's no way you're surviving that.
God, what an absolute maniac. No, it's not actually happening. This is really it.
This is the Overwatch League playoffs.
All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another day of Overwatch APAC action. Already have gone through the play-ins. Now it is time to kick things off properly here in the playoffs. Double elimination is upon us, Wolf. And kicking things off, we have the Shanghai Dragons going up against the NYXL.
It's a matchup that you really couldn't ask for better for the beginning of our playoffs. And, you know, as you mentioned, it is double elimination, so neither of these teams are going home tonight here in the APAC region, but they're going to go down to their last life, so to speak, in the losers bracket or the lower bracket. To be more politically correct, you know, some people don't like to call it a losers bracket, but taking a look at our bracket, it says losers bracket
on the graphic.
Losers bracket on the graphic, so you know what? I'm glad we're all on the same page. I hate when people are like, you know what? We don't like to call it that. I'm like, well, they lost. That's why they're down there. No one's lost yet, okay? But we will have two teams drop down there today. The Overwatch League Twitter, I think, put it as like we were going to feed the lower bracket a sacrifice.
A tasty snack?
Yeah.
Okay, sacrifice. Even more brutal. I like it.
So, you know, we're going to send some losers down to the bottom bracket tonight. I'm excited to see how this one goes because, you know, these two teams are some of the best in the world right now, obviously, you know, of this region as well. And we'll go ahead and jump right into New York's roster here for this first matchup. And
yeah, I'm sure a lot of people, after seeing the matches yesterday, were excited to see if there's going to be any potential changes coming in for NYXL, but the answer is no, there's not going to be. Still going to be Sibyobi and Hoxall there in the DPS lineup. Of course, Mono is going to be playing, and then he's going to be alongside Hotbot, who had a pretty good series yesterday.
Yeah, and he did it without really going into the Roadhog territory. It's something that he's pretty well known for, so that's one of the big questions for these two teams today, and all four teams. We'll have, obviously, Guangzhou and Seoul playing later. Is will we see Roadhog trickle across, the teams that we have remaining here in our playoffs, or are we going to see it mostly absent? We've seen a lot of teams use it in NA now as well. We've seen Seoul's variation of it. We've seen in Washington Justice's version of it with the Roadhog Zarya. So a lot of different things that I think will eventually come to pass here in our playoffs. Will it happen today? That's a question we don't have the answer to just yet.
Yeah, and I'm interested to see exactly what NYXL's plan is going to be. Like you said, they strayed away from playing the Roadhog in their series just the other day. They were playing against the Chengdu Hunters, and they kind of just opted into matching on the Wrecking Ball from time to time. So Hotba was primarily piloting the Diva, and then Mono was flipping back and forth between that Wrecking Ball and the Winston. I'm not sure what Shanghai Dragons have prepared, but NYXL, we'll see if they're just going to match or if they're going to keep running a bit of what we saw yesterday. We'll go ahead and take a look at the starting six for the Shanghai Dragons, because there's been a lot of conjecture around what we could see, who could be coming out on this starting lineup, but it's just the championship lineup. You've got Lee Jae-gon and Izayaki, so Luffy going to be taking a step back at least for this first map, but we have Fleta and Lip in.
Yeah, Fearless and Void, I think the big question is, will we see just more of the same, the Winston Diva play that you'd expect to see from the Shanghai Dragons, or are they going to be changing it up, in the past, last year, for example, we might have seen Youngjin in the lineup. It might have been a hint if we were going to see the Roadhog, for example, but he's no longer a part of this roster. So Not going to see him here. It's going to be the tried and true lineup, which, you know, we only really have stand one to consider in terms of the backline. And yes, I know a lot of people think Geggery is an insane Roadhog player, but because she's fielded so infrequently, I think there's a pretty low chance that we'll see her come in, even though she is a really good Roadhog player, just simply because of the pre-existing synergy that Shanghai has built right now with Fearless and Void. She's been subbed in a few times this year, and she has looked good, so I could eat my words on that one, but I think we're really looking at stand one, Void, and Fearless here in the tank lineup. And the fact that they're using the main lineup, so to speak, here, makes me feel like at least for Control, we're probably going to see Winston D.Va. Or Winston Zarya, you know, potentially.
Yeah, either of those could come through. We'll have to see. Maybe Fearless has been practicing his Roadhog silently in the back room. I mean, Gesture, he came out the gate swinging just yesterday for the Seoul Dynasty, really helping them get that 3-0 victory over the Hangzhou Spark. So maybe Fearless has been putting in similar hours, and we'll see a strong Roadhog performance from him alongside Void, either on, you know, the Zarya or the D.Va. We'll have to wait and see what these guys have prepared. We will be jumping in to our first map of Oasis here shortly, and then from there, the loser, as we will keep using that term, of the previous map will be, they'll be determining the next one in sequence as we get ready to go through Hybrid Assault, so on and so forth. We did have a map 5 yesterday with the NYXL versus the Chengdu Hunters. I'm hoping that they could do the same here versus the Shanghai Dragons. I think it'd be a major boon for the organization, for their fans, even if they don't win the series, if they could just take Shanghai to that Game 5 arena.
That is going to be, I mean, that's the hope, right, for every fan.
Yeah.
I guess we should point out, too, that Fearless, you know, a lot of people reminded me about this when I was talking about him a little bit yesterday. Fearless has played quite a bit of Hog in his career as well, but that was a long time ago, you know, when a lot of DPS players were playing Roadhog, for example. You know, that was like in the Evermore era of Roadhog, if anyone can remember that far back. We shouldn't count him out on it. You know, you were mentioning he might be practicing it. We'll see. Right now, it looks like it's just going to be that Winston Zarya, though, and on the side of NYXL, they're going to teleport out here, running the McCree, actually, with the Mei. Interesting choice, and it's going to help them out-poke and outrange this Reaper comp from Shanghai.
Yeah, if they can get a catch on Fleta, you know, flashbang in, Fan the Hammer should take him down. They also have decent anti-dive synergy. For Fearless jumping into the back. You see him landing up on that platform right there as Lip desperately tries to get a hack off. He'll just turn over, finds Hotba instead. The damage focus going forward onto the D.Va. Haven't been able to break him out of the mech yet, but Sibyobi's going to be taken down by a damage orb out from Izayaki. And it's the supports who start getting their hands dirty here off the bat, claiming the first 2 kills. And with that, NYXL going to have to reset and come back in as Shanghai Dragons get the first cap of the point. We'll see if they make any alterations.
Yeah.
Hotba going to be moving over? No, okay. Thinking better of it.
Yeah, I think the big question is, can Sabilby chip away at Fleta here safely while also dealing with the potential dive that you could see with Lip and Fearless coming through? You know, it's a very resilient comp the Shanghai Dragons are running, so that kind of has to be chipped away at range. And, you know, look at how, oh, this is not the position they want to be in.
Definitely not. 4-man EMP comes through. Hotba does manage to punish Fearless before he can get the primal range online. Lip has a follow-up on the Hawksall, but now Fleta goes down. It's a very scrappy fight. A DPS and tank taken from either side. Right now, NYXL starting to inch their way onto the point to try to get the cap. Hotba going to be leading the way. And Sibyobi just sits in the back to get some pot shots here, trying to find some kills. A nice bio nade flips onto 3 members of the Shanghai Dragons. That will slow them up just a little bit, but now Fearless is going to be back into the fight as the primal range does get popped. Dead Eye rolling, not going to be able to find a target, but it clears the point long enough for the New York Excelsior to go ahead and get the lockdown. Now the question is, how does Shanghai Dragons try to turn this around and get back in control of the point? Void holds on to the Graviton surge, spots out Hotba, goes ahead, dumps it right up into the front. The Blizzard's coming in defensively from the side of NYXL, layered in with the sound barrier shields, and find 2 kills, and that should be enough for them to hold on to this.
Yeah, I don't think the grab was necessary there. I mean, Shanghai Dragons were dealt a bad hand in terms of how that fight went, because Sabilby had a really nice flashbang onto Fleta to prevent his escape, right? And then that's when things started to fall downhill. Deadeye then guaranteed the point gets capped, and Shanghai Dragons, Slip gets taken out here. Nice right-click headshot from Hawksall. Shanghai Dragons decided to try to turn the fight when Void was less than 50 energy on Zarya, goes for a grab, and the follow-up defensive Blizzard just guarantees the point. And Shanghai Dragons used a lot of tools and didn't get the point. New York Excelsior have full point control, have ult advantage here, arguably. And Shanghai is swapping Void back onto D.Va. So this is looking really good for New York Excelsior right now for grabbing this first round.
It's a very strong start for them. Limped in the back, gets the hack out onto Sabiobi. The Nano Boost comes out in response to ensure that the Cowboy can stay alive. Flashbang onto Fleta, interrupts the Deadeye, but already the support's going to be gone from the side of the NYXL. The kills are following behind them. The Shanghai Dragons look to take this point, and it's looking pretty damn good for them. Hoppa going to be the last one realistically here to fall. It's going to be Mono as well, as he went in for the pin, but Shanghai Dragons are back in control, just 20% down from taking a lead again.
Critically, too, I mean, Shanghai Dragons get to keep this EMP. They've got a coalescence for New York's approach, and, you know, Mono is going to have to really be careful about how he tries to set up with the Shatter. Arguably, he probably needs to wait for Huxall to set up a Blizzard first if he wants to make sure that he gets the most value out of that, but there's not a lot of time to do so when coalescence could be an easy engage here for the Shanghai Dragons. And that's exactly what they look for.
Yeah, Lip force the jump away. Shatter comes down, only finds Flood, and he's allowed to stand back up. Freeze comes through. You see the body block attempt coming in from Izayaki, trying to block out for Lip, but doesn't quite have it. Instead, it's going to be an effective team wipe here for the NYXL, looking to wrest control back away from the Shanghai Dragons fairly quickly after they lost it. Big concern here for New York, though, is the ults that they do not have.
Yeah, well, it's a sound barrier. If the sound barrier ends up getting ready here, I mean, there's a very fine line that Lip's going to have to walk with this EMP, you know, where if Anamo actually gets that barrier, they can defend this. Looking for that flank. He's unseen right now. You see a spy check from Hoppa. Oh, false sense of security. He gets by him. He thought, oh, I'm surely safe. I swept that area before, but he's wrong.
He is. Mono going to be eliminated. EMP does come through, and Namo cannot get that sound barrier online fast enough. The Death Blossom cuts him down, as well as Sabiobi. Team wipe coming through. 94% of the board. NYXL with Mono swapping over onto the Wrecking Ball. We should be able to get a touch, but there's the boot back, denying it completely. So 199% start here on University. Shanghai Dragons are able to take the first round.
Really high-level first round here between these two teams. Back and forth, 99 to 99, essentially there at the end. And, you know, you really like to see diversity in comps like this as well end up being so close. And that's what usually leads to a pretty exciting series. New York Excelsior having, you know, a lot of different ways they could have attacked and set up for that final cap. And, you know, the one I was talking about where Mono went for that flank Shatter and set up for the Blizzard instead of the other way around, right? I thought Huxall would be the one to set up the Shatter. Was really cool. And then you saw Huxall immediately look for the kill on Lip once Lip got frozen there. Good target selection to prevent the follow-up EMP in the fight itself. But Shanghai do end up, you know, coming back to the point with that EMP and taking it. Looks like we're going to see New York change it up. Not so much for Shanghai here. Obviously, Zarya list, but otherwise about the same here. So New York running that complete Wrecking Ball dive.
Yeah, it was doing pretty well versus Among for the most part yesterday. Mono was one of the stronger performers that we did have in that matchup. Let's see how he fares now versus Shanghai. If we can get the hack on him, the Reaper will just go ahead and rip that Wrecking Ball apart. Hoppa, no exception, already going to be eliminated. Mono getting pushed out towards traffic. You can see him dancing around the cars, but he's got nowhere to go to try to get to safety. So we'll just be eliminated, and the point will come in. Lip going to be taken down by Jonak on the back end of this fight, but look at his ult charge right now. 83% to the EMP, and there's only 8% on the point right now.
Yeah. York Excelsior trying to capitalize on his death, though, to get a fast flip here. Jonak trying desperately to match Izayaki's coalescence. He's so close, yet so far.
Pulse Bomb is ready. Sabiobi getting pushed away. He would love to get into the back line, throw that down onto Izayaki while the coalescence is rolling because he's much less mobile. Doesn't get the opportunity to do so. EMP going to be used, takes Jonak out of the coalescence of his own, also catches onto Sabiobi, who will be able to survive for a little bit longer. In fact, it's going to be Fearless, the first one to fall, as Huxall tries to get an EMP ready to go. Pushing forward, New York just looking for this flip. Fearless going to be back alive and rejoining the fight here momentarily. They push up on top of Void, who does have that self-destruct, and he's just going to go ahead and use it, create some space, and get back into the mech safely. Self-destruct up over the top from Hoppa, looks for a pick, doesn't manage to find one, and Izayaki, again with the damage orb, comes up with another kill, this time onto Mono. Death Blossom goes out, doesn't find much. Sound barriers out from both of these Lucios in response. New York holding the point here for now, but Shanghai looking to take it back rather quickly. Hoxall up over the top, just looking for a hack target. Can't quite get one there onto Void. Coalescence rolls again from Jonak. Izayaki matching. Stick comes in, Primal going to come out. Minefield does manage to find one. Sabiobi trying to dance around, and Mono takes him out. Swings straight through him. He was so tunnel visioned on the Tracer that he wasn't paying attention to the rest. Gets taken down, and New York actually persevere in the fight.
Now they lose, Shanghai Dragons lose a lot of percentage because they do commit very heavily to trying to retake this, including a lot of ultimates, right? They trade evenly in ultimates across the board except that EMP, so Lips engage here is what they're going to have to hope for. Nice spy check here from Anamo. He gets detected, does not decide to use that jump pad as a result. Hoxall goes for the chase, but he's not where he wants to be for this EMP fight. He wants to be engaging as soon as possible to get that fast flip. They know they have this EMP advantage, but they're getting slowed by the spy checks.
Force Hoxall back. Now he pushes forward, finds an ammo. Get a hack onto him. They all pile in on to Hotba. Knock him out of the mech. Eliminate the pilot. Lee Gon goes ahead and claims those kills. He's looking for another one as he goes on the hunt there for Jonak. Does manage to fade away. Minefield from Mono. Lips Fleta, Fearless going to fall. 2 members down from the Shanghai Dragons. Maybe again this EMP engagement is just not going to work out for them. That being said, Void and Lip managed to push in, get the kill onto Jonak, but now they're down Lee Gon, who is nearing that sound barrier shield. Coalescence from Izayaki will help try and delay the fight a little bit longer here. They are now in that one fight territory and desperately need the flip right here, right now. 97% on the board for NYXL. Sound barrier nearly up for an ammo, and that could be the difference maker. Mono hacked, but does get taken down rather by Lip. As we are in overtime, Lip just trying to get that EMP ready. Taking fire from all sides, can't seem to get the hack. Speaking of hacks, Hoxall comes in huge, manages to find 5, but Lee Gon was the one that eluded it. The sound barrier helps buy some more time for the team. They're still in this fight. Anamo holds onto a shield of his own. Sabiobi now going to be taken down. And YXL might just disengage here because they do have time on their side.
They should disengage.
Hoxall falling as well. I think that this will just have to be the pullback from them.
Yeah, they should pull back here. They want to trade ultimates if they can on their way out. Jonak gets a kill, and they're going to commit the minefield.
Just managed to find one. That's a follow-up EMP from Lip that's not going to be able to be used now. Self-destruct from Void, doesn't find a pick. The Coalescence, however, will get both of the tanks with Lee Gon following up onto the pilot form D.Va. Now YXL maybe structured themselves a little bit too thin with this defense. Likely should have just pulled back and said they invest their ultimates and now don't have those to push in. They can still build up a couple of them, but it's 50% here for Shanghai.
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty win-win situation for New York. If you're able to, you know, take the point away from Shanghai, you win the round and you go to round 3. Otherwise, you trade ultimates with Shanghai. Shanghai had 6, now they have 3, right? So it was a pretty successful exchange in terms of those ultimates right now, but they did not get Lips EMP critically, and there's no counter right now. There it is.
Yeah, speaking of which, there it goes. 3 members hacked on the side of New York. Hoxall the first one to fall as they look for a little bit more. If New York can keep this fight going, though, which they still do have 24% left until Shanghai is in threat of taking this map, Hoxall will be able to rejoin. He will be able to have that EMP to try to turn things around. Lee Gon desperately needs to elude this.
Yeah, Lee Gon's sound barriers have been so perfect. Look at this wraparound, too, from Bilby actually trying to find Lee Gon where he was hiding, trying to force him into EMP range. He doesn't find him, however. He sees him, but he can't force him into that EMP, not yet. At least he can tell Hoxall where he is.
Coalescence out from Izayaki. EMP going to be used. Catches on the 3 members. The sound barrier shield comes in perfectly to keep Fearless alive. The Coalescence now going to be expired, trying to keep him topped up. Lee going to fall. 99% to either side as Sabiobi's pulse bomb will be taken away by the D-Matrix from Void, who's dangerously low and will get knocked out. Lip eliminated. Fleta trying to hold on. Pulse bomb lobbed out, doesn't manage to find anything, and Sabiobi is starting to wreck house right now on the side of the Shanghai Dragons. 3 kills for him in the extended fight, now on the hunt for Fleta going around the backside. New York managed to get the flip into their favor, and it's another 199% round as NYXL will go ahead and take us to a 3rd and final Garden to settle Oasis.
I mean, this is actually top-level Overwatch we're watching right now, including top-down maps. We get to see the positioning. It was actually insane to watch that chase from Bilby. Just to talk about that moment again where he's trying to hit Lee Gon. You notice, too, that when that happens, Lee Gon's forced to run away. He goes in the center where he thinks he's going to be safest on that little pillar in the middle of the map. And we're going to actually get a view of this. Look at how much damage is put out here from Bilby as he's... Oh, this is actually a different moment. I thought he was shooting at Lee Gon. But anyway, that same pillar I was talking about is where he gets forced to go. And you can see his sound barrier almost actually gets, it barely makes it in. Like, he has to drop down from there, so the sound barrier is slightly delayed compared to when it was on the ground. So just really nice pressure there and good understanding and communication with New York to try to punish him, try to prevent him from getting that sound barrier off.
So Bjolby now going to be matching with the Reaper, moves away from the Tracer. Fearless hacked Void taking quite a bit of damage here with this mech, but seems like he will be kept alive. Fleta is well in the same boat, forced into that Wraith Walk. He is currently surging past Bjolby towards that Death Blossom charge as the hack does come down. Really fast build on the Coalescence here from Jonak, gets that one up. Izayaki now getting his, goes ahead and pops it as they try to keep everybody alive. So far just an exchange on the Winston's in the fight as the point has not been taken by either side. The EMP strikes first from Fleta. The Death Blossom is right there alongside it. And they absolutely just massacre the DPS lineup on the side of the NYXL. Shanghai Dragons getting the first cap.
Lip is just so good at building fast EMPs. He sets up with Fleta there. Fleta does a ton of damage to also build an extremely fast Death Blossom, and they just work together so well. But we could see a fast flip here from NYXL if this EMP fight goes their way. Again, they're going to have to try to find Lee Jae-gon, prevent him from hitting that sound barrier. I mean, it's a tale as old as time with Sombra versus Lucio. Toxel just tries to find the angle here.
Goes with the translocator, EMP comes out, does manage to find 3, but Lee Jae-gon again perfectly positioned. Does manage to go ahead and pop that sound barrier shield. It's still not going to be enough to keep Fearless safe as he does get taken down, but look at what's happening on the other side of the fight. Hoxel and Namo now eliminated by the Shanghai Dragons as they look to hold on to this point and shut down all of these ultimates coming out from NYXL, effectively resetting them. Fleta finds the kill onto Bjolby, and that should be enough. As they will go ahead and take down Hoppa here on the back end of the fight. They already control the point, so they can go ahead and stagger him as well. He pistols his way back to a remech. Did they just let him do this? No, they don't. Okay.
They just perfectly timed it. It was about as good as it gets. So that was risky from Hoxel there. He will end up surviving. And now Lip's got another EMP. New York Excelsior don't have, they're not running Ana, so Mono, even though he's got Primal Rage, he's not going to have that much ability to actually really get a ton done here. In fact, he might just get hacked before he can use it. Okay, he does get it off. He has to use it preemptively.
Yeah, hack onto Mono, hack onto Void, but you can see Mono just kind of getting farmed right now. Didn't have too many places to go after the hack came through, couldn't leap out to join in with the rest of his team. Lip with another EMP ready to go. Hoxel trying to catch up at 52% currently. Coalescence is going to be rolling. Lip just jumping out of line of sight of that. Sees a big cluster of NYXL players, goes ahead, throws out the EMP, catches 3. Death Blossom goes in from Fleta, pushing forward. It's another 2 kills on the combo. Wonderfully executed from the side of the Shanghai Dragons, and Wolf, it's looking like this round is going to be nowhere near as close as the first 2. 99% to 0 right now, ticking down. Anamo has to push in, but the poop comes out. And that is going to be Shanghai Dragons taking map number 1. Oasis is theirs. A strong start to the series, but for both of these teams, to be perfectly honest, New York not backing down to the fights, taking us to the 3rd and final on Oasis. This is looking like a very promising match.
I think it's going to be a close one. I mean, that 3rd one was really just absolute control for Shanghai Dragons of the ult economy. Almost every single team fight they took was perfect. Sound barrier execution again for Lee Jae-gon is on point. So the EMP from Hoxel there doesn't come through successfully, even though he's, getting some of these EMPs are taking much longer to build than we're seeing on the side of the Shanghai Dragons, with Lip's EMP timings coming through much faster. He's often lapping Hoxel. So a lot here going well for the Shanghai Dragons on that 3rd round in terms of the ult fights. But the first 2 rounds otherwise, unique compositions from NYXL. We were seeing a little bit of Mei. I like what they're doing. I like how they're running, some of the counter comps, at least what their perspective on counter comps to what Shanghai is running with the McCree, with the Mei. I'm liking the sort of strategy that we're seeing from them. They come in very well prepared despite playing just yesterday. So that's a good sign for them as the series potentially goes longer.
Yeah, it is. Well, map pick now coming up for NYXL. They have decided to go to Kings Row. So that map will be coming up in just a few minutes, and we'll see if New York can go ahead and tie up this series, or if Shanghai Dragons will be able to make this a rather fast one and move up to match point. So stay tuned, guys. The action's still heating up. It's looking like a great series here for us, so you don't want to miss any action. So stay tuned.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Pringles Wavy. Big crunch, big flavor. The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile. Switch today and rank up to America's largest 5G network, T-Mobile. And by State Farm. For auto, home, or renters insurance. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
All right, welcome back. Kings Row, our next map here in this series. Shanghai Dragons able to take Oasis, so they start off 1-0 in this first of 3 set. NYXL with their map pick now going to be looking to tie us up.
NYXL looked really good on the first map. You know, you talk about strategy and depth. That's what we're really going to see from a lot of these teams that are considered the underdogs, right? In a lot of these series when we head into playoffs in a new meta, a forming meta, right? We're still figuring it out. Everyone's figuring it out worldwide differently. It's not only a new meta, but it's an open hero pool, right? So everything is possible. There's no limitations to what you can do. And, you know, obviously on Control, you do see a little bit more Mei, just based on the nature of the map type. But I like that they tried that. They brought the McCree out. It was a really nice attempt to counter the Reaper. They're thinking one step ahead, like they did yesterday against Chengdu as well. It took them a while to figure out some of the ways to counter what Chengdu was doing, but they eventually did kind of get a grasp on that, right? And New York has struggled, historically speaking, sometimes in playoffs against unusual play, right? Remember, last year in the Stage 1 playoffs against Seoul Dynasty, they ended up losing to Michelle Sombra, you know, the famous Nene grab and all that. For those who remember last year, you know, they really struggled to adapt to that flex tank Sombra that we were seeing. Didn't deal with it well, and, you know, some people like to say they choked. I don't think that's the case. I think they just failed to adapt in the playoff series, and you can call it whatever you want, but I think this is a new New York that we're seeing here in terms of how quickly they're able to figure things out, how well they prepared from yesterday to today to lead into Shanghai's match. This is impressive stuff. This is new territory, I feel, for New York in a lot of ways.
Ready for battle.
That it is. Well, here we go. The record, obviously, for most of these maps on the Shanghai Dragons side of things is always going to be pretty daunting. So New York fans don't necessarily get worried just because Shanghai's 7-1. So New York's looking pretty good. They're going to go for the Ashe Sombra defense here with the Wrecking Ball. We'll see how they fare. Shanghai Dragons currently showing us, well, yeah, okay, there we go. changing it up a little bit. Won't be shocked if Fleta goes back to that Pharah, though. But we were seeing a fair little bit of Hanzo yesterday, so could stick through with this.
Double sniper could be quite good, especially if you want to run something like the Roadhog composition, but I don't think they're going to see that on attack. I think it's just going to be a peek out for the Widow, and then jumping back in. Fleta swaps over to the Reaper. It's going to be that Reaper Sombra.
Okay.
Which is, I'd say, probably the most common comp we're seeing worldwide right now. More than the Sombra Ashe, even.
Yeah, the Reaper's been coming back in a pretty big way. Some teams figuring it out better than others. As Mono is just hounded down. Everybody from Shanghai Dragons presses W. They run at the Wrecking Ball, and he cannot move away fast enough to escape. So, gets absolutely destroyed. Fearless Discord orbed, however, and Lee Jae gone dead. So healing going to be cut down. Jonak manages to find one, equalizing this. A support for a Sombra on either side. Mono rejoins, goes in for the pile driver. It's that big shield, but now Coalescence rolling. Izayaki pushing forward, looking for some kills with this. Hoppa's going to be taken out of the mech by Fleta as Lee Jae-gon just harasses Mono in the back line, forcing him to retreat, pick up the Mega Pack, but he is completely surrounded and will fall. Fleta eventually finds that kill. Meanwhile, Jonak kills Lip yet again. Very much is delaying that EMP build, but no one is on the point right now for the side of New York, despite some kills coming in for their favor. Jonak getting rerouted through the hotel, couldn't trance his way over to the point fast enough, so this does just get capped by the Shanghai Dragons, so now they have 5+ minutes in the time bank.
Yeah, it's almost like the stick the pendulum swings from snapped there, because they were so close to turning that fight in so many different ways, right? If Mono had survived, the trance is a little bit differently timed, but they end up wasting a lot of ultimates here. Now they're going to heavily commit to try to regain control of this archway. I like it if it's successful here. They haven't gotten any kills, but they're certainly delaying, and they do grab back control of the archway. So as long as you don't need to get kills with a minefield, if you can get control of a choke point, that's going to make it a lot harder for this Reaper comp to push through, because they've got an EMP now for a choke. Look at Huxall, he's ready for the choke point. EMP, they've got Saebelby to poke out the Reaper comp that needs to close that gap. So this is a perfect position. I really like them using the minefield that way, and it's going to force Shanghai to take a different approach angle.
Well, he's got it, yeah, got to be careful. Should have spotted the wraparound coming through, but Mono, he does not. EMP going to be used. 3 members now hacked on the side of NYXL. See, Hoxel tries to respond in kind, manages to hack 2 members, but the sound barrier from Lee Jae-gon again is just absolutely perfect. That is a delayed team wipe as Mono respawns, and it took him about a minute, but they finally break through that archway and get this cart moving up the street.
Yeah, this is a nice little push here for Shanghai Dragons. I like the way New York tried to deal with the approach, but wasn't as successful as planned. Really nice adaptation from Shanghai Dragons. Now Mono gonna scout ahead here. This is actually pretty lucky he's gonna get out.
A pile driver going through. Mono not gonna be able to find too much. Bob just sitting around the corner looking to dissuade anyone from poking their head out here for the moment as we hit 3.5 minutes remaining. Flooded with the Death Blossom. Does have that ready to go. Jonak should have the Transcendence ready to roll as well, unless he can get a hack on him. He's under fire here for the moment. Lee Jae-gon actually finishes him off. Lip does die, but now there's a big opportunity potential here. Actually, never mind, because the res will come out from Anamo. Self-destruct going to be used, clearing off the cart. Minefield layered in as well to just stop the members of Shanghai Dragons from being able to push up to keep contesting. Mono just rolling through. It's a nice little extra 20% build towards that next minefield. Bob's going to be chucked out. This is starting to get a little bit chaotic around point B. Hoppa, however, going to fall. EMP comes through, manages to find 4. Coalescence from Izayaki, keeping the members alive for now, and Lip's hack will expire.
No
just
transfer
waiting for that Transcendence to end. Yeah, already going to be used. Now the EMP comes out, just solo onto Jonak to delete him. Actually does find Mono at the same time. Both get taken down. Anamo finds the res, but Jonak is now brought back to life in such a poor position and instantly gets eliminated yet again.
This is
going to be
disastrous.
moving up. Yeah, this is real messy.
Super
real
systematic
messy.
The way that Shanghai is dismantling New York Excelsior here. The hacks from Lip right-clicks onto the tank line to push them back, then taking out Jonak, forcing him to trance right early, and then he, obviously the EMP comes through, he's deleted, and it's just a very much exactly how you want it to go type of situation for Shanghai. Everything according to plan.
Fleta, however, will get taken down. Minefield coming out again. As Fearless does make it to safety before the hack lands from Hoxo. He'll push up around the corner looking to get that EMP online. Keeping decent pace with Lip, who's about to have his. Bilby under a little bit of fire. Shot's going to be coming through the EMP, tossed out. Oh my god, absolutely massive. Manages to catch on the 4, and Jonek just does not have that Transcendence ready to roll. The member's not dying right now on the side of NYXL as Mono just delays, rolling around the cart. They push in, find Fearless. New York very well may just be able to hold on. Yeah, you can see the members of the Shanghai Dragons pulling back, so despite the big EMP, NYXL, they hold on tight.
Yeah, that was actually a really nice hold. I mean, everything considered. Hoxel has an EMP now. They have high ground, which is actually really important when you're running this comp that they have, because it works well for pile drive, works well for say Bilby. The step back, look at where Mono's hiding too. He's actually going to try to sandwich them. EMP sets off.
Does come in, Lip trying to desperately back up as quickly as he can. Does have the tanks to go ahead and stand behind. They lose Fleta. Things continue to look good here for New York on this defense. They're draining the clock down considerably. 2 minutes, 12 seconds now remaining for Shanghai on this attack, and they're really limited on ults, Wolf.
Look at Lip. He's actually going to switch over to the Widow here because he knows, he ends up losing the duel anyways, but he's losing out to Sable because of that high ground, the disadvantage that he had. You know, he just wasn't able to do much as Sombra. The rest of the team getting chipped away at range. I think Fleta should consider swapping here as well because he's just getting outclassed, outranged, outchipped by this damage from say Bilby. That's actually a huge pick he gets on Lip, which buys him a ton of time. Self-destruct to try to regain control of this corner comes out.
Yeah, was also potentially going to cut off Mono there, but he does manage to make it out with his life intact. 1 minute and 30 seconds. Now on the time bank as Lip pushes up onto the high ground. The pile driver comes in, sets up for the body shot from Sabiobi, who's just been getting regularly damage boosted here from Anamo. Dynamite down, looking to get the hit onto Fleta, who is at half HP. Coalescence from Izayaki does find one. The Transcendence pop from Jonek to keep everybody else alive. Hoxel now gone. Bob going to be invested into the fight as Fearless gets knocked off the side of the map. Mono just swinging through, manages to find that kill. The tracking from the Bob gets rid of Lee Jae Gon as he tries to exit. A minute now remaining. Ult's getting ready to come online for Shanghai Dragons, but even if they finish this map, it is not going to be with a strong time bank.
Yeah, it's not going to be an amazing time bank. That's definitely true. Lip about to have his infra site, so they're going to have a little bit of extra information about where everyone is hiding. Might be able to even try to threaten Anamo here, try to shut down that Valkyrie before it goes off. Here it comes. Does have that vision now. Going to go for the high ground. Looks for Jonak.
Oh, misses the headshot. Has to go for the body shot onto Hotbot instead. Gets the dink, try to threaten the mech, but doesn't displace him enough. Headshot comes through onto Sabiobi, but Shanghai Dragons lose out on Fearless while he's 1% away from that Primal Rage. He'll have enough time to rejoin in the fight, but Shanghai Dragons, they might not be able to get across this finish line with time in the bank, which is a very good thing for New York.
This is insanely good play from New York here. Hoxel just going to sit and wait. Lee Jae Gon, he's had so many sound barriers, he's had so much success shutting down these EMPs. He probably will here too, but what happens next? What's the follow-up? They're going to have to win this extremely long fight here. They've got the ults to do it, but if anybody dies, it's going to be hard. It's going to be nearly impossible for Shanghai.
Yeah, Mono still harassing in the back line, not under too much threat from that Widowmaker as long as he stays in the ball form. EMP going to be used from Hoxel, catches onto 2. Fleta goes in with the Death Blossom, is kept alive, manages to find an ammo. Transcendence now expires from Jonek. Mono, a sliver of HP, would love to get topped up. It's a health pack, still going to be hovering around half as the minefield does come through. Fearless goes into the back, the Primal Rage cleaves, getting multiple hits in. Self-destruct knocks the Bob away. The cart still has a little ways to go though, and New York may be able to stretch this out. Mortality field used from Anamo as they push back up towards the point. Hoppa going to be desuited. Jonek swaps over, goes for the Ana now, looking for a quick sleep dart shutdown onto somebody to try to set up for a kill as Void will also swap over onto the Wrecking Ball to rejoin in just a little bit faster. 2.81 meters left to go for the Shanghai Dragons. The Bionade clips onto Lee Jae Gon, cannot heal himself, and Mono manages to find the kill. Hoxel back in with the Doomfist, going to be cut down. Fleta gets that kill, looks to get another Death Blossom, building this one up in record time. After Mono falls, they clear the point enough to finally inch that cart forward just a little bit more and get the completion here on King's Row. But given the start, given how much time Shanghai had, it's a really good boon for NYXL to have taken this time bank all the way down to 0.
Yeah, NYXL's CE defense was really incredible. I mean, they had high ground control for so long. They had such a great understanding of how to shut down what Shanghai was doing, forced Lip to change to Widowmaker even. It was a really good performance from Sabiobi, and you know, the composition that New York is running is very difficult to execute. It's very feast or famine because you're running Jonek on Zenyatta, you know, one of the best Zens in the world, you know, our inaugural season MVP for a reason, right? But He's Discord orbing targets repeatedly while also doing a lot of damage himself. Like, he needs to be able to put off a lot of damage if they're going to end up chipping the tanks down at range. With Sabilby on the Ashe, and you're running mono on Wrecking Ball, and he's always putting himself in harm's way against one of the best chasing Sombras we have, one of the best mobility shutdown Sombras. You know, I know it's a mouthful, but Lip is so good at stopping and hacking high mobility heroes. That was something he got famous for in APAC when he was shutting down Genjis and Tracers, for example, as the Sombra. So he's putting himself in harm's way. It's very difficult to execute what New York did on C, but they made it happen consistently. The wraparounds from Mono, Jonak always hitting the right targets, always having the Discord orbs there, Namo damage boosting. It was beautiful to watch. And on the attack here, from the outset, looks like we're going to see something similar. Much more difficult to execute, obviously, on attack. When you don't have those long sight lines, you actually have to attack into sight lines. But there's no sniper on the side of Shanghai Dragons, so they still can chip away at Fleta here. I don't know how that happened.
Already Hawksalt, yeah. Not quite certain, but it's just Lee J. Kong. It's just Lee J. Kong things. He denies every EMP. He kills your front line. This guy does it all. Lip now hovering in the back line, waiting for an opportune moment to go for a hack. Staying away from Hotbuzz, desperately trying to spy check for him.
I'm so glad we got to keep Lee J. Kong in Asia. He didn't get taken away to NA. This guy, you can showcase his true potential on a team. Yeah, exactly. I wasn't going to say anything, but you know.
Nah, I mean he's at least on Florida. He's been looking pretty good despite the loss earlier today. They're not out of it yet. They're just in the losers bracket. Shots coming through. Mono getting his way in behind. Fearless trying to take down that Winston. Coalescence comes through, however, from Izayaki. They will help pop Hotbot out of that mech. Yobi does get the kill onto the Moira, however. So could be a step forward here for NYXL as that Rez brings Hotbot back into the fray. Now with the kills pushing forward. Void knocked out, taken down. Fleta eliminated as well. New York find themselves inching their way up here onto the point, getting that first tick. We'll see if Shanghai Dragons can try to go for any kind of recontest, but I don't think that would be a bit too wanting. It would give up way too much ground, I think. But AJ Gon's around the back, so maybe it is possible. It's going to get pushed forward. The Dynamite comes out, and Sapiobi's just got a shooting range here, straight down the hallway. Goes ahead, takes some shots, finishes him off. Lip finds Hawksall, however, so they're still playing forward. Rez comes in, Lip eliminated by the bomb before he can try to use the EMP in the extended fight to pull off this defense, and that will have to be it at the end of the day. The cap will come through. 4 minutes, 30 seconds, however, for NYXL, still very strong. They
traded ultimates, though. They were actually really behind in ultimates when it looked like New York was going to cap it. It looked like Shanghai wasn't going to contest there. They also were able to, thanks to Lee Jae-gon's crazy antics, pick off Hawksall. He died in the process, and there was a world where Shanghai could have held, but I think they really just wanted to trade ultimates back and maybe try to look for an archway fight like we saw New York do. Unfortunately, the timing doesn't work out with respawns coming through in favor of New York, obviously with less players dying in that exchange. So Shanghai doesn't get the EMP fight in the archway, but at least they built a sound barrier, right? They've got their own EMP now. Speaking of which,
EMP used from Lip gets the hack there onto Hot, but Jonak popping the Transcendence, just not enough healing to keep Void alive. EMP from Hawksall finds two, but there's Lee Jae-gon following up immediately. Lee Jae-gon with sound barriers is Yveltal to Rez's. As soon as the EMP comes out, he's got the sound barrier. As soon as somebody dies, Yveltal's got the Rez. Just so good at eluding these EMP hits from Hawksall from just about anybody. Got the struck going to be used by Hotba so he can try to get back into the mech, which is well enough protected to do so. But New York are really struggling to push through this arch now.
Sombra Goats was the meta pretty much all year last year in Contenders Korea, and he's really honed his skills. Mono is just getting obliterated there after he goes for the pile drive engage with Minefield. And this is, again, looks like it's going to be a shutdown of New York. Remember, what they're trying to do is extremely difficult to execute. The choke point is controlled here for Shanghai. Jonak doesn't have line of sight to hit Discord or targets repeatedly, right? Like, he actually can't consistently have those unless Shanghai's playing far forward. So the Zenyatta pick isn't getting as much value. He himself is not able to do that much damage at this angle until they push through.
Yeah, dive into the backfield, taking a bit of damage, so it does pop the primal range. Discord over a little bit late onto him, so they don't get as much of a punish as they would like. So they'll be fanning the hammer, looking for that pick, is unable to finish off a member of Shanghai, but continues to press forward, waiting for his opportune moment to use that Deadeye to create some additional space. Card finally starting to move up here. But you can see clock drained away, 2 minutes gone now for New York. They need to really not get slowed up anymore here for the street space.
This is I mean, this is a really tough fight to take. Jonak doesn't have EMP, or rather doesn't have the counter for EMP.
Oh, well, actually held down the right click, managed to get it as the EMP was channeling, and he was out of range of getting clipped by that. So it does have the Transcendence online now. Hotba gets knocked out of the mech and actually pistols down Lee Jae-gon, giving him a taste of his own medicine. Finds that kill, so he'll be pushing forward up into Fearless's face. Does get eliminated, but Anamo has the rest to instantly pull him back through. And Izayaki is gone as Lee Jae-gon tries to rejoin the fight. So really nice fight here for New York Excelsior. Allows them to break through as you'll be getting some nice taps on the back end.
It's a really
extended
weird
wipe comes through, and that should be point B.
It's really weird to see Fleta swap over to this Tracer here suddenly. I don't think it really suits the composition, and I think it was a desperation move to try to delay this capture of B. But I think either Lip or Fleta should swap over to Widowmaker here. You know, they're both good Widowmaker players. Ideally, should be Fleta in this case because EMP is so important. But right now, New York is kind of on a tear. Like, they actually might end up with a really good time bank here if this next EMP fight goes their favor. Shanghai don't have any range damage to try to slow that down.
Yeah, Pulse Bomb doesn't find anything. Oxel holding on to the EMP. Jumps back briefly, goes back out in front. EMP is absolutely huge. Lee Jae-gon didn't have the sound barrier, but even if he did, was caught up in that one. Sliver of HP remaining for him as he tries to back out. Seems like he will be able to retreat successfully as Void pops the D-Matrix just to keep himself alive. Throws the bomb down, EMP comes through, sets up for the explosion as Void finds two. The DPS duo for NYXL taken out of the fight, and New York is going to have to call for a retreat, but Shanghai Dragons, this is them pushing forward, looking for as many kills, as much ult charge, anything that they can milk out of New York.
One of the main reasons Fleta is my pick for MVP is because his Tracer play has been so insane all season long. I criticized the pick, right? In a vacuum, in a perfect world of, you know, AI machines playing 10 times better than all these pro gamers. I don't know if the Tracer pick would actually be the one to use, but in the real world we live in, Fleta's insane. He's getting value. He's harassing the back line. He's got another pulse bomb here. He's not going to swap after that defense. He's going to keep this. He's going to keep this Tracer pick.
Yep. Well, Fearless going in, got hacked, couldn't pop the primal range to try and survive, so does end up overextending. It's good. It's a good punish there from Hoxall. Deadeye from Sipiolbi finds Izayaki. The Shanghai Dragons, they have the faster runbacks here. Whereas we'll go ahead and try to equalize things a little bit for NYXL. Slip goes out, EMP does hit Jonak. Cannot pop that Transcendence, but does manage to stay safe here for the moment. Gets juggled into the corner by Fearless. Transcendence gets popped, Fearless gets focused. Suddenly New York back in control. Bomb goes into the back line, the knockup comes through. Lip gets picked by that self-destruct. EMP comes out from Hoxall in response to the sound barrier from Lee Jae-gon. He tried to pull the trigger first, and Hoxall shuts it down. Fantastic timing from him. To clean up on the Fearless, they will glide in. But crucially, Shanghai Dragons took New York under a minute, so they get another chance. They do not have to try and defend for a draw.
Yeah. Both teams' A defense has been arguably a little bit lackluster, right? So I think this is really going to be... If history repeats itself, I think this is really going to be about controlling that archway after A is taken and how much, you know, how much of a push you get past the archway, if you get through the archway, etc. That's kind of been the story so far. That extra 44 seconds buffer for New York is actually going to be quite nice for them because it's going to allow them to force one more team fight and hold ultimates. They got to get an eco push, if you will, which is what, you know, Papa Smithy popularized this term back at APAC. So eco push, for those who don't know, is where you basically attack without using ultimates. You try to build ultimates in the push, and you know, if you can force your opponent to use ultimates, you trade up even higher. And when your win condition is, for example, if Shanghai gets halted at the archway, if your opponent has to use ultimates or you win the game, it's really easy to hold ultimates and push, respawn, and come in and do it again. Because if they don't ult while you're pushing, then you win the game, right? And that's the situation New York might find themselves in here if they can get a nice archway hold. Or an A hold, like, you know, a full hold here on this overtime push. Shanghai Dragons, once again, starting Fleta here on this Hanzo. I think we're going to see the swap to the Reaper. It's actually Tracer this time. Okay, just looking for that dive, hyper dive here. Extremely aggressive. Only Lip could probably build an EMP in 1 minute's time on King's Row here. Only he, I feel confident, can do it.
Well, Hoxall jumping away as soon as he heard that hack start to come through from behind. Lip barely survives.
Caster Curse.
It does jump back. Hoxall now taking the lead. doubling Lip's charge here as that defensive Sombra. 26 seconds remaining for the Shanghai Dragons. Haven't really built up a whole lot of anything. Izayaki currently going to be the closest one. Fearless, discorded, chunked down, and Hoxel finds that kill. Pushing him even closer to a very important defensive EMP. Shanghai Dragons now have to go in, try to hold this as long as they possibly can. Void, however, pushed away, desuited. Fearless swaps over onto the Wrecking Ball just to try to get in for this touch. Point has to be contested. They do barely manage to tap their way in, but Yobi gets rid of Izayaki. That's the closest ultimate really here for the Shanghai Dragons that they could have. Void taken dangerously low. Needs to get some heals, but is not receiving any here for the moment. Lee Jae-gon now going to be the focus of the Discord Orb. Jonak almost has that Transcendence online, and Yobi is just comfortably sitting up top, taking these pot shots at the members of the Shanghai Dragons. EMP out from Hoxall. Helps shut down Fearless. You can see here, that'll be a team wipe. That will be the full hold here in the extra innings for New York. Now just need that single tick. With 1:44 on the clock, seems pretty possible for them to go ahead and tie up this set.
Yeah, this is looking really nice for New York. I mean, just one tick with that extra 44 seconds. You know, Shanghai Dragons have to have a perfect defense here for the draw. And we have seen a lot of really good defenses across Kings Row over the years, across the metas, but neither of these teams had stellar defense first time around, and New York has more time here, so just going to take a look at Jonak fragging out here. Grabs a double, Trance is just to guarantee the win. Doesn't even need it. Shanghai putting Fleta here on the Reaper this time, which they did not do on the attack, which is a double-edged sword, because on one hand, you can survive a lot. I mean, your survivability is insanely high against Wrecking Ball. Even if Mono decide to go Winston, you're in a pretty good spot. I mean, honestly, even against Roadhog, as long as you don't get hooked, you're gonna really push that back. You've got a lot of lifesteal and staying power, but the counter to that, especially because New York has some extra time, is they might just swap, say, Bilby onto Widow or keep him on the Ashe, and then Fleta's kind of a sitting duck in that case, and it's a lot harder to execute this style of play. Either way, it should force a reaction out of New York and burn a little bit of time off of the clock once they scout it. See what the response is here as Hoxall will swap to Sombra, and Saebelby just instantly the Ashe. He's keeping it, obviously, once he sees the Reaper. Mondo's going to threaten the cap.
Yep, pushes into that back corner. Forcing him to reroute. Lip pushes up right in front of him. Looks for that hack. Does manage to find it and just begins to farm. They push forward. With the help of Void, they take him down. Now, with 1:10 remaining, New York is going to have to wait. There's no way for Anamo to try to go and get that res. Lip just farming again. Nice quick shot there. Forces him out of position before he can get too much done.
Shanghai playing so far back here, trying to avoid Saebelby's sightlines. You can see Saebelby's right now struggling to find a target. So Mono keeps tagging the point to try to flush them out, rather.
Dive comes into the back line here from Fearless. Mono taken down yet again.
Nice
Hack
play.
out onto Void, but will be safe. Fuels back away from the members of NYXL. 38 seconds remaining. It was a little blotchy on my screen. I thought we were already down that low time.
All right,
but,
EMP is ready.
30 seconds. Yeah, 30 seconds coming in now. EMP's up for both of these Sombras. Coalescence there from Izayaki. EMP comes through. Jonak does not have a Transcendence, still a ways away from that one. Counter EMP out from Hoxall before he falls. Hits 3 members, but no one is being threatened whatsoever on the side of the Shanghai Dragons. In fact, they are pushing up towards the spawn into the theater to try and keep everybody alive. Lee Jae-gon goes ahead, drops the beat. The supports go down. 5 seconds remaining, and we very well may have a draw on our hands.
Looks like it.
Unless New York can pull off a miracle. The boot back onto the Bob comes through, making sure that he cannot sit on the point. Hoppa focus fired. Does get knocked out of the mech, taken down. See the self-destruct zoning them back. Mono rejoins, has the minefield, but gets hacked, cannot use it. Jonah gonna have to use the Transcendence just to try to buy some extra time. But there's just not enough members of the NYXL alive here at this point to keep this fight going. The OT will start bleeding away faster and faster. They get the touch in from Saebelby, but that is as good as it gets. And at the end of the day, the scoreline will not change, Wolf. It is a draw on Kings Row.
Really proactive play from Lip. When you have only, I think they were at about 25 seconds left or so when the EMP hits. They both have EMPs, right? Lip and Hoxall. You've got to be proactive in this moment because you don't get a second chance. You don't go, oh, okay, the EMP'd us. and we survive or we regroup and come back in, you don't get a second chance. Somebody dies, the fight is essentially over, and I think Shanghai was extremely happy with how that EMP went. He was undetected. There wasn't a lot of spy checking going on there because New York was so focused on trying to set up for the perfect EMP for Haksal that he just went unnoticed. He gets the EMP off right in the middle of the team. I think it's a 3 or 4 man EMP he hits there. It's massive.
3, I think.
And there's no way to follow up. And that's where you see Legion got the speed boosting and sound bearing in their faces before the last contest even happens because Shanghai's like, this is it. It's over. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I don't actually care about what happens next.
I mean, well, this just goes to show how close these two teams are playing against each other right now. A draw on Kings Row. So Shanghai Dragons still maintain that 1-0 lead, but the scoreline doesn't change. New York's still in a position where they, want to win 3 straight maps, but they're not at match point against Shanghai. They're not tied up, so we just keep pressing forward, and they get another map pick. So we'll see what that is going to be, but before we can get back into the action, we will have a game break coming up in just a few minutes. So stay tuned, guys. We'll break down these first 2 maps when we return.
Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's now time for our game break presented by Cheez-It Grooves. We have, not quite a tied-up series. It felt like it was going to be Wolf, but unfortunately for the NYXL, they could not get a victory on Kings Row. Double holds on point A in those overtime rounds, but the scoreline does not change. It doesn't become more detrimental for them. It's a 1-0 lead now for Shanghai.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like this series might go potentially more than 5 maps if this keeps up. I mean, we saw an incredibly close control round. Obviously, Kings Row down to the wire in terms of both attack runs that just narrowly finished. I mean, Shanghai's obviously, like 45 seconds-ish, 44 I think it was technically, a little bit slower than New York, and they had that very clutch, very, very, what's the word for this? I don't know. By the skin of their teeth finish there where they were able to do it in overtime.
Close finish?
Close, yeah. I mean, it was close, right? They barely did it. Obviously New York's a little bit cleaner, but it's a very close time bank. Then you go into a full hold and then the fuller hold for the draw. I mean, technically not really a fuller hold, but you know what I'm saying. I mean, they held for longer, and it was not a single tick that New York was able to get. Proactive EMP coming out there from Lip, and I feel like if we want to go straight into our crunch time presented by Cheez-It
By all
Brews,
means.
I feel like the only thing, and we talked about it yesterday, and we knew there wasn't going to be much that could be done about it when less than 1 day's time, but the one thing that separates these two teams is the Sombra play. And Haxal's not playing poorly by any means, and I feel like his right-click hacks are sometimes even more meaningful, arguably, because he's a little bit more careful about his target selection. But in terms of his positioning, his EMPs, he is getting outclassed. He's never able to really consistently shut down Li Jigan, which is it's not really like just his fault, right? It's not as simple as that. Li Jigan's positioning is insane. He's sometimes aggressive. You don't really know where he's going to be, so he's getting every sound barrier. He's sometimes chasing Haxal down and killing him, which has happened more than once this series. And it feels like it's not like a Haxal versus Lip problem. It feels like it's a Haxal versus Li Jigan problem. And we've seen even Sabiel be trying to tackle the problem, trying to help chase down Li Jigan and make it harder for him to hit those sound barriers. But Haxal is not finding the same EMP efficiency, the same success as Lip is overall. And I feel like that's the one thing that really separates these two teams. The one thing you could kind of put your finger on, because everything else is so damn close right now. And I think that's something that you can't change in a best-of series. Really, you can't change how good Haxal is. You can't make Li Jigan play worse, but maybe you could track him a little bit better. Maybe you could punish him for his aggressive plays. Maybe that's the angle New York takes going forward.
Well, they're catching him a couple times, more so near the end of King's Row there. So it's a step in the right direction. We kind of saw a bit of an evolution for Haxal Sombra yesterday. It started off really rough versus Chengdu, and then as the series went on, it got better and better. He started off really, really well so far in this series. So if we continue to see those tiny steps forward in this set, maybe it's enough for New York to actually take the victory. But boy, I don't know. It's always just going to be guessing and conjecture. We have to wait until these guys get back in game and continue playing. And that's going to be coming up in just a few minutes now. We're done with the crunch time. Thank you very much, Cheez-It Grooves, as always, for being our sponsor. But when we return, we will have the rest of this series. Just see how many maps we actually can tally up in this set. 1-0 the scoreline currently for Shanghai Dragons. We'll see if New York can finally put another win on the board for themselves when we come back for Volskaya.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Cheez-It Grooves. Deep flavor, deep crunch. It's a mind crunch. The Overwatch League is brought to you by HyperX. Unleash your style, unleash your fury. with HyperX Fury Memory. And by Coca-Cola, the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
直接被 Fearless 给刮死。
他的状态也不理想，飞了这一波 double kill， 这个烈地猛击拍到对方双死，又突的曲野离，哇！
能量进展上面的话，坦位还是上海龙这边的一个能量领先，而且这关于危险的。
자, 립 관딩이 님의 거 못 채웠고요.
근데 님 채우기 잘거든요 지금.
자, 이마 목재.
All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Let's carry on with the rest of this series. The action has already been absolutely incredible from both of these teams. NYXL and Shanghai Dragons playing at the highest level versus each other, resulting in a draw on Kings Row. Now we turn our eyes forward to Volskaya Industries, another map pick for the NYXL as they look to put a map win on the board.
Yeah, and Volskaya Industries is their map pick again. When you have a draw, the most recent loser gets to pick again, right? So
yes,
that's how that works. So they've chosen this map, and it was a map that we actually had, you know, if we want to talk about recent historical data, that was picked by San Francisco Shock against the Washington Justice earlier today. I think for very similar reasons, because I think where a lot of New York's success is coming from is not the Sombra duels, it's not the tank battle, it's not necessarily the wrecking ball play we're seeing. It's all of those things kind of put together with long-range hit scan from Saebyeolbe. He's really the one who's leading the charge. You want a map with long sightlines. You want a map where you can play around Saebyeolbe's Ashe. You want to have a Namo just sitting there pocketing him. This is the pick. This is the best assault map you're going to have for that style of play. So I really appreciate the map choice right now for New York.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple others that would kind of cater towards that style. You know, Hanamura, Temple of Anubis, especially on point A, has those sightlines, but Volskaya is just pretty much the whole
time, yeah.
Has those nice long open sightlines for an Ashe to really excel in. So, yeah, I agree. I think that we're going to be seeing a bit of that coming through, and it's going to be interesting to see how Shanghai Dragons responds, because Saebyeolbe's Ashe has looked extremely good across these last 2 days. So it's definitely something to be concerned about if you're Shanghai.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely something that is kind of strange too, because you're looking at two really good hit scan players on Shanghai, Lip and Fleta, and neither of them are really willing to play long-range hit scan against Saebyeolbe. It's almost as if they're having this extra sign of respect for him. Fleta playing a lot of extra Tracer, when a lot of players would have challenged, would have swapped over to long-range hit scan to duel Saebyeolbe in a lot of these cases. And Saebyeolbe's long-range hit scan has kind of been up and down, historically speaking, if you want to go back, all the way to pre-Overwatch League. But he's looking really good this week on long-range hit scan. I mean, he's filled the shoes of Pine, and now has kind of overtaken Nene. And it's very impressive to see how a player as old as Saebyeolbe, he's kind of ancient in terms of esports years, and as veteran as he is, he's been playing since the very beginning of competitive Overwatch in Korea. He's been able to kind of catch up and surpass younger players who, at oftentimes, like Nene specifically, have been better than he is at this role. So I love to see that when an older player kind of surpasses the younger players, shows the ability to play not only long-range hit scan, which he's focusing on now, but if he has to play a Tracer, he can play that too. If he has to play Sombra even, he can. And a lot of New York fans are probably wondering why he's not instead of Hoxall at times. But respect to Saebyeolbe, he's part of the reason why this Volskaya map pick comes in.
Absolutely. Well, let's see how these guys are going to fare, as we do have the Shanghai Dragons starting things off on the attack, New York on the defense, and no surprises. We're seeing that Ashe come through from Saebyeolbe. Much more comfortable of a pick, at least as of late, compared to the Widowmaker, which he has played sparingly, but this has been looking a lot better for him.
Yeah. The Ashe has potential to do a lot in choke point. You can help burn down. Like the cool thing about Ashe too is Dynamite can actually be used at close range if you're really good at it to help peel against flankers. You get that tick damage onto a Sombra or a Tracer or even a Genji. It's something they can't escape. Once that AoE is on them, they've got to go get healed. So I think that's also one of the reasons why so popular right now. Ooh, this is a nice little angle. Undetected.
Wrapping around the back. Waits for the translocator timer. And now gets the spot on Mono. Just playing far forward, so getting the hack here would be huge. The bubble comes in at a perfect time, though, for Mono to try and deny that hack from coming through. Sabiobi up on this high ground, playing forward, instantly gets the headshot there on the Lee Jae-gon, pops back up top, seeking a new target. Once Izayaki. They will get him in the end, but Fleta does manage to find Sabiobi. With Void getting knocked out of the mech, though, this still is going to be a very rough time for the Shanghai Dragons. Fleta's got nowhere to go. The Wraith Walk canceled early. Didn't try to exit, just try to get as much percentage as he possibly could. But the first volley from the Shanghai Dragons going to be successfully defended by NYXL.
The duo between, I've been saying it all season long, but the duo between Mono and Jonak, the heals that are coming through from Jonak on Ana whenever Mono's playing as Winston, so well done. And, I mean, just Jae-gon things.
Where?
He was probably wrapping around the side or something. I don't know. This actually, he was with Lip, it looks like. Lip's going to get out, but this is actually just tons of time by here.
Oh, okay. Well, that's definitely not great. That is a huge opportunity for Lip to get back in and take the lead. Fleta Wraith walks out with a sliver of HP remaining, down to 18 there, as Mono is ready to finish him off. Rez comes in onto Hawksall, so he can continue to get that EMP first. Lip hunting around the back, tries to get into range, and Jonak, he can't get it. Sleep Dart doesn't connect, the pocket heals come out from an almost, and Jonak is perfectly safe. And Lip has to go ahead and exit.
That's
he does get up
so,
to 97% alongside Hawksall.
That's so risky. If he gets slept there, he dies, and that's a whole nother time by. I mean, it's Jonak we're talking about here, so that was not out of the realm of possibility. He missed the sleep dart by like a millimeter. All right, EMP is ready on both sides. Can Hawksall pull the trigger first? The answer is yes.
He does. He does not find Lip, but he got Fleta right off the bat. Niziaki cannot fade out. Mono in a perfect position to go ahead and punish the enemy Moira. The kills come through. Void crucially managing to exit with his mech intact, but as I say that, okay, yeah, gets a health pack to go ahead and try and fight his Lip. Is just like, yeah, I'm, help. Knew he was screwed. He didn't have the translocator up, so just, was running towards the side. Mono says, nah, it's okay, I'll speed it up a little bit for you.
That's how they
still hold on to that EMP. That's pretty crucial for them. There's no Transcendence, no sound barriers on the side for NYXL, but this, I mean, this needs to be an impactful play from Lip. They need to follow up on this.
They have Nano Boost, though, and they're going to have Sleep Dart as well, so he needs to be very careful about how he approaches. I think this is one of the more dangerous approach angles he could take.
Okay, EMP comes through, manages to get St. Bjolby. They get both supports, and the follow-up comes in. Mono going to be hacked on the backside of the primal range as he continues to just go ahead and try to bat people away. Fleta going to have to TP back onto the map, times that one perfectly. Gets back up top now, looks for Jonak and finds him. Lee Jae-gon the casualty on the side of the Shanghai Dragons thus far, but it seems like they should have the point now to go ahead and get that cap rolling through. Hawksall is spotted, gets the health back to elongate his life momentarily, but the cleanup comes in. But a really nice start to this defense from the New York Excelsior, and they've got defensive ults to make sure that this is going to be less of a chance of a snowball here for Shanghai.
Yeah, you've got to be really frustrated if you're Jonak too. He gets the scout both times on these crazy Lip plays and misses the sleep dart just barely both times. I mean, it almost looked like he was so close to hitting Lip from that perspective. It almost looked like it did hit him. He was so close to shutting that down. It just fails to make it happen. Hawksall's got another EMP, and his last EMP was actually pretty well executed. We'll see if he can make it happen once again here, because if he does not, then Shanghai Dragons, if they touch the point with this Reaper and the bomb, I mean, there's so much they could actually make happen with the speed boost they're about to execute.
They're trying, I think that, well, they're waiting to see if they could get Hawksall on the jump back. They saw that he had that Mega Pack hacked out. Said they'll just go for the engage. And Namo going to be taken down and hop on Deep Mech. Fearless with the Primal Rage does find Sabiobi, and it's just an absolute slaughter. I was talking about the ultimates available for the side of the NYXL, but they're just not able to execute on any of them. Mono can't make it back into the spawn. That is the team wipe. 2.5 ticks already built up here for the Shanghai Dragons with 2 minutes and 27 seconds remaining. There you go. They will be able to tick that one up as Izayaki claims the final 2 kills. 2 out of 3 now, I have to say. Thank you, Fleta. Of that round. And what looked like a very disastrous start for the Shanghai Dragons turns into overall a pretty good attack because they were able to snowball onto the point.
Yeah, there's been something I've noticed. There's been this kind of trend of targeting Jonak down for the Shanghai Dragons, a lot of these pushes, because he is so focused oftentimes on Mono, who's playing aggressively, and he's kind of got his eyes laser focused on making sure that Mono gets the nano boost so he can put a primal, or he's just constantly throwing those left clicks in to guarantee the heals coming through. And that's part of why he's playing Ana instead of the Zen that we saw in King's Row, obviously. But he's kind of getting shut down at times, and this is one of those cases. He misses the sleep dart here again. And he's isolated sometimes because he has to be, otherwise he's going to be, you know, if he's in an obvious location, like he's kind of staying back because if he's at the angle where he needs to be to hit Mono consistently, you know, kind of towards the front, then he's even more vulnerable. But I feel like Shanghai is often wrapping around and finding him at his even more isolated positioning, which has caused problems. And okay, if you're wondering when Fearless's Hog might show up, we'll change topics. We'll segue right into this. It's going to be on this defense here. It's going to be Fleta, Pharah, and it's not Hog Zarya, which has been, you know, quite popular. It's Hog Diva.
Yeah, so a bit of what we were seeing yesterday. Now coming out to play for the Shanghai Dragons. The first time that they'll be running this Roadhog. So they are absolutely in it to win it here with this point 8 defense, looking for a full hold. Fleta tagged up, but pocket heals are there from Lee Gonna try to keep him. Can we get a replay?
I'm sure we will.
Stop my sentence and say replay, please.
It's probably just a mechanical error, but could have also been something with
a little bit of a Chipsa moment, perhaps.
Yeah, we'll have to confirm that one later. Check the tape on that one.
Yeah. Bizarre. We can wait until after this fight at least. Hack comes in onto Fearless, can't take a breather. They're trying to keep him alive. Nice bubble to try and go ahead and cut right through the heals and that Hog, and it works out. They do manage to find the kill, but Hoppa now going to be eliminated, so still effectively a 2-for-1, and the res comes through, so they go ahead and nullify that as Fleta continues to play up forward here against the Winston. Drops down within the bubble, trying to weave these rockets in. A very dangerous game right now is Fleta playing, so he goes ahead, decides to dip out of there.
Okay, Fearless here trying to grab Mono, but this is a really risky spot to be in. He doesn't have a Zarya bubble to stop him from getting antied or anything like that. He can get slept. He can get really bullied if he does end up getting caught with CC without a Zarya to help him out.
Oh, Fleta falling low. Great sleep onto Mono, but he's going to get woken back up. Nano Boost is rolling for him to try to get that Primal Rage online. Hook comes through. He goes in for the leap, and it's going to be the Coach Gun Blast that actually finishes off the Winston. So far, a very strong start to the defense for the side of the Shanghai Dragons, but Haksal is getting closer to that EMP, and that could be the turning point.
Yeah, Mono just hasn't been able to do what he normally does, right, with Jonak's support, and I think that's part of why they're having so much trouble is he just keeps getting hooked, or he's forced away because of the threat of the hook. And now, you know, Hoppa's got to be really careful because this barrage could be launched from above this alcove at any moment. When Mono leaps in, the bubble's not there. That's when Fleta wants to strike, especially if Hoppa's already used his Matrix. Just hovering, waiting for that chance.
Yeah, waiting for his moment. Dagon sticking to him like glue as the rockets come down. Haksal falling low. EMP comes out, does manage to find forward, including Fleta, including Lee Jae Gone, but Mono is the first one to fall. Doesn't get an opportunity to use that Primal Rage, rather. And there's not a Sombra on the side of the Shanghai Dragons, so it's just a missed opportunity.
Yeah, that was actually really well played by Fleta there as well. He gets away while hacked on the land Pharah there, and Jagon even commits the Valkyrie just to make sure he could follow through to get that extra healing throughput. Haksal swaps to Genji here. It looks like Desperate Times calling for desperate measures on the side of New York Excelsior. They've got a Nano boost. This is their fight to lose. So to make sure Mono does not get isolated. Nano's out.
Already, Jonak going to be taken down, so Fleta, with that follow-up kill on the Sapiobi, can just continue to hold this barrage. Has not had to pop it yet. Looks for the boop away there onto Izayaki. Cannot save him, but it doesn't matter because there's a res out from Lee Jae Gone. We've got 38 seconds remaining here. New York Excelsior with 4 ultimates ready to go. Can they break through? Because there's almost 4 to match from Shanghai.
Yeah, Shanghai, I mean, Fleta's still got that barrage. They have a hook here. Mono, he's going to get nanoed in this fight. You know, they wanted to nano him last time, but Jonak got picked. But if he gets nanoed and just hooked, I mean, he's going to lose a lot of his time. He's going to lose a lot of that health pool. It's not going to be as invincible as he'd like to be. Here's the barrage, potentially.
Maybe not. Nope, just, again, doesn't need it. Goes ahead, pops it now as the Demon Matrix goes away. Can he elude that? Yes, he can. Nice little short wall. Blocks out on the self-destruct. The whole hog rips them to shreds in the garage. Hoxall finds one. Mono gets another. Rez, however, brings Lip back into the fray, so only down a man right now are the Shanghai Dragons as the OT will bleed away. And they do pull off the full hold here on Volskaya Industries. Shanghai Dragons now moving up to match point 2-0 plus a draw over the NYXL.
Really well played across the board for Shanghai. I like the swap over to the I like the swap over to the Roadhog to deal with how Mono's playing Winston. And that kind of forces this weird split. And you saw Mono kind of getting caught alone oftentimes because he was trying to leap past the Roadhog and try to threaten the back line. But then we're seeing good sleeps come through from Izayaki and Lee Jae-gon. You know, we were talking about how awesome his Lucio is for the first 2 maps, but his Mercy, very thorough, making sure everybody stays alive, helps keep the tank line alive. Then he jumps back and heals with the Ana there, with Izayaki when Mono leaps in. And you saw Fleta so many times go extremely low, and he's just kept alive just barely there by Lee Jae-gon's Mercy. And I mean, it was a fine line there walking with the Roadhog comp, but it made so much sense based on how Mono and Jonak were playing that tank line at range.
Yeah, I mean, they played it to T. It was just fantastically done there from the side of the Shanghai Dragons. Now they're just 1 map away from closing out this series and advancing forward. New York in a very rough position, need to pull off a reverse sweep now and take us to a 6th map if they want to walk away with a win. It's going to be their map choice yet again. I believe we're going to watch Point Gibraltar for that, but it very well could be the last map of this series. We could be seeing the NYXL move down into the losers bracket here on the first series. We're going to find out in just a few minutes when we return for that map, so stay tuned, guys. You don't want to miss it.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile. Switch today and rank up to America's largest 5G network, T-Mobile.
All right, we are back and getting ready for what could be the final map of this series between the NYXL and the Shanghai Dragons, who are currently leading 2-0, plus a draw. Worth mentioning the draw, because it was a very close map there for NYXL. But unfortunately, weren't able to get a win there. We're not able to get a win on Volskaya Industries, and now need to pull off a reverse sweep if they want to advance forward and stay in the winner's bracket.
Yeah, these, you know, we talked about it in the Cheez-Its Grooves crunch time earlier about how Huxall, you know, is having a hard time in the Sombra matchup, but again, mostly versus Lee Jae Gon, more so than, you know, as if it was a head-to-head him versus Lip. And then obviously they struggled a little bit when Mono was kind of trying to lead the charge, and he was the one who was making the big plays with Jonak supporting him. And that's kind of always been the playstyle with Mono. He's one of the best Winstons in the league, and with Jonak kind of pocketing him all the time, he kind of gets some bloated stats even because he's so well healed, he's so well protected. But the Roadhog really threw a wrench into all of that, and he couldn't just go into the front to trade because he was going to get hooked and blown up by that massive junk damage, the right click damage coming out from the Hog. And when he went further away from the Roadhog, he was getting caught and blown up early. So Shanghai kind of figured out how to deal with New York. We saw Huxall swap over to Genji, which was quite puzzling. It's not the first time in this playoffs we've seen that. And it's a little bit worrisome.
Yeah, it is, but worth noting that we do not have Huxall in for this map. Watchpoint Gibraltar brings out the Libero in NYXL, so changing things up considerably now is New York.
I wonder what that means for the composition. I mean, he's not known to play the Sombra. Could be we see Sabiolbi play Sombra, and Libero ends up...
He wasn't known to play McCree either, and he did that,
yeah. So... looks like it might be Widowmaker here, which is... You know, if you're going to see Libero on
just
a sniper
weird.
here on Gibraltar, you're probably hoping it's Hanzo in most cases. One of the first big Hanzo players in Korea, actually, Libero. Think back to good old Meta Athena days. It's a long time ago. Right now, Shanghai Dragons, I think the Genji could be real. We're going to actually take a look at what happened to Mono earlier. Missed the grapple? Really?
I guess he was, trying to swing around the side and didn't do it, but all right, well, let's hope that that goes from his past doesn't haunt him here further on Watchpoint Gibraltar.
Look at this.
You see Shanghai Dragons are going for the double sniper with the Hog Diva.
Double sniper Hog is really popular in Asia right now because you have the Hog for peel against Winston. So Winston becomes essentially useless at diving the snipers. So it becomes a war of attrition, and sometimes two snipers are better than one. Fearless going to swap over to Winston though here as York Excelsior is playing back and playing careful. And similarly to Roadhog, I mean, Hanzo himself is actually pretty good at anti-dive and peel with the storm arrows. The burst damage is unreal.
Break through that bubble from Mono very quickly, as well as punish him with those storm arrows. So, almost finding the headshot there onto Libero.
He wants Jonak, I think, more than anything else, but I don't think he's going to get it.
I mean, killing Jonak is kind of like killing Yevildol if you're playing against Chengdu, but that's still going to be pretty good. Good luck getting a res Anamo. Jumps up over the top, looks for Jonak, can't find it. But you can see Anamo pressured out, cannot get that res, but Sabiolbi in a really nice place to capitalize on that early damage. You take down Lip. Fearless now going to false, Hoppa pushes forward. He'll be taking a nap here for a little bit longer, but I think this is still going to be pretty good for New York at the start of this defense.
Yeah, it's really nice for them that they grab this hold right before the finish line of A. And that was actually a pretty nice trade.
Yeah, they knew that everybody was still just kind of clumped up in the server room. Lip, however, after the sleep comes in on the Mono, is able to just go ahead and line up that guaranteed headshot to get rid of the Winston. Now he's looking for Libero. One final shot would finish him off. Grapples forward, destroys the poison mine, gets the follow-up melee hit. Wonderfully done from Lip, but back over onto the other side of things. Izayaki taken down, forces the rest from Lee Jae Gon, and Lip, after overextending to get that kill, does get eliminated. So a bit of revenge coming through from Mono. Finding that. Sleep dart onto him as he leaps up into the air, but still holds on to the Primal Rage, and we'll go ahead and pop that upon waking up. Self-destruct is out. Void looking for the remake, but Jonek says nay. Goes ahead and gets him with that headshot.
Lip swapping over, interestingly, here to the Ash right now, just not having enough consistent damage output with the Widowmaker, despite some heroics there. It looks like he's not comfortable doing that anymore, wants to play the Ashe for the Dynamite and arguably the extra peel, but it's going to be harder for him without pockets, which he is getting right now, but without pockets to win some of these exchanges. Even against Jonak, it can be quite hard. And Libero, sees a Dynamite come out, he still knows the angle. I don't think you should peek this one, Lib.
Yeah, he knows that Infrasight's rolling. Now will expire. But even then, playing the same angle as a sniper is very ill-advised once you've been spotted.
Especially versus a Widow when you're Ashe.
Okay, well, they find Hoppa. They force that self-destruct. Everybody peels back, and he remech. Healing goes through, so he does safely get back into that. Primal Rage now going to get popped. Fearless looking for a target. Spots Jonek over on the other side. Receives the Discord Orb, though, so does take a considerable amount of damage and has to exit. Sabiobi on the other side of things gets the better of Fleta, taking him down in that 1v1. Finding the headshots and now waiting for his moment to go in. Has his pulse bomb ready to drop, but has to zip away for fear of the sleep dart from Izayaki.
Yeah, I think the sleep was used, so he might come back in one more time. He's got the potential for it. Shanghai need to commit to something here.
He's stuck. Izayaki gone. Huge pick off here. Now Libero gets the headshot on a lip. There's just 15 seconds remaining and 3.73 meters here for the Shanghai Dragons to try to get their way into point A. Lip dead, waiting to respawn. Almost has a bomb available. Fleta getting tagged up. Does have a pulse bomb ready to go. Fearless finds Mono. Void forces the OT over on the card as Fearless rejoins. The pocket healing starts coming through. Chaining together to keep the tanks alive now that the Valkyrie is popped. Stick comes in. Jonak has a Transcendence. Pops that one to stay alive and in the fight and keep everybody else topped up as well. Libero looking for the shot. Can't quite line that one up onto Legion. Gone. The bomb finds the punish. Anamo taken out as well. They get the break on Hoppa's mech, and it looks like Shanghai Dragons should be able to persevere and break through here. Hashtag breakthrough, all that stuff. They get the kill onto Jonak. Wasn't even on purpose. They get the cleanup in the end. They finish them off. Now they look for some split spawn members of NYXL as they get that 2.5 minute bump up in the time bank.
Yeah, right now Shanghai Dragons getting some chase kills here, getting a Namo. It looked like they were going to get on the Libero as well, but he does narrowly escape. But this was actually really scary for Shanghai Dragons there for a second. They weren't able to trade the kills like they wanted to. Now they've got shuttle control here, and yet still loses out to Libero. Libero picking Widowmaker, again, somewhat of a puzzling move for New York Excelsior, but it ends up being the winning one for them. It's going to force a Primal here, that Pulse Bomb is.
Pulse on a Mono, still taking a considerable amount of damage. The Bionade is going to look good to go ahead and finish him off, but Sabiobi strikes back, finds both supports after he lobs in the Pulse Bomb down the staircase, gets the stick. Rez is on to Mono, Fearless is gone, and Hangar control very much in the hands of the NYXL.
I mean, Sabiobi is obviously always been known for his Tracer, but defeating Fleta when Fleta's in peak form right now and just outplaying him essentially here, finding more value, finding better pulse sticks. That's class right now we're watching. Again, struggling to find an angle because Libero's always got his number. You can see it's even forcing the dive here from Fearless. Fearless had enough of this Widowmaker.
Yep. Just trying to stay safe, jumps up over top of the drop ship, drops back down, manages to find Libero. Looks for the kill and will find it with the help of Flood as they push in. Self-destruct force on the high ground there from Hotba. Goes back into the mech with the assistance of Jonek and that Transcendence. Heart moves forward a little bit, starts inching up yet again. Somebody from New York gonna have to contest this pretty soon. It's gonna be Hotba who drops down and almost loses out on his mech yet again because of that. Heart is still inching forward. A nice stick there from Fleta, but doesn't lead to any kills, or it must have been rather the spectator sound bug that can come through, so it doesn't find the stick.
Yeah, bounce on the bubble, I think. Okay, Dynamite's out here. Shanghai leading the health pool charge. I mean, I think they should be able to win this war of attrition. They're going to have a Primal here.
Yeah, Jonek
another
got
pulse,
one.
though.
Fearless got two, but Sabiobi finds another pulse. Jonek gets rid of Izayaki. It's a very messy fight. The res already going to be burned here from Legion Gone, who will get taken down to the back line from Sabiobi. 5 seconds now remaining with just over a meter left to go for the Shanghai Dragons to get that minute and a half extra in the time bank. Hack was out, however, onto Fearless, couldn't leap out to safety. Gets eliminated. Fleta trying to do his damnedest, gets a pulse bomb kill onto Jonek, but Anamo strikes him down. And they will be held a meter in front of point B. New York Excelsior now have a very real win condition under their belt.
New York Excelsior, I mean, really relying quite significantly on say Bilby hitting these miracle pulse bombs, but are they really miracle pulse bombs if he's hitting them with the consistency that we're watching right now? I mean, I think the answer is no, right? He just keeps, it almost feels like every single pulse bomb he throws has a huge impact on the Shanghai Dragons, and that's sometimes what happens when you're playing the chaotic playstyle that Shanghai Dragons are relying on right now. They're trying to dive Libero. Fearless is building insanely fast Primal Rages, but okay, here's going to be that one of those miracle sticks we're talking about. Look at this. And then the follow-up is there from Jonak to finish off Iziaki. But he's not, I mean, I guess the best way to describe his playstyle is frantic, right? But it's like organized chaos. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's turning around so quickly because he knows exactly how many bullets it takes to get a kill, and it's jarring to watch. It almost gives you motion sickness to watch Sabilly play Tracer, but it's because he knows exactly how long he has to hold left click essentially to get a kill and then turn away and go do something else. He's so deadly, so dangerous. And again, against Fleta right now, he's outpacing him in these pulse bomb builds, getting better sticks. It's really hard to believe that he's playing this well, but he is.
Moving their way up now. Bilby on fire with this Tracer in the round, so absolutely should stick to it. Mono, Bionated, will get eliminated here off the bat. Good little focus fire coming through for the Shanghai Dragons.
Lip is actually just losing out to Libero in almost every single duel, which is, you know, if you said that, if I told you that was going to happen, no one would believe me, right? I was like, yeah, I think Libero wins this, but nobody would believe that.
There's the caster blessing or a curse, depending on which team you're rooting for, as Lip does come out on top.
Yeah.
So all you Shanghai fans can say thank Mr. Wolf in chat.
Well, right now, say Bilby is not able to find any value on this Tracer. This is one of the harder parts for Tracer to actually flank on. There's just not a lot of different paths you could take to where the Widow is, and the Widow could just grapple away very easily.
Looks like Lip's going to peel back, throws up that poison trap to go ahead and retreat to one of the other walkways as Fleta's just looking for this crossfire. Recalls does not move up to half HP, so does have to dip out of there. Grabs the health pack. Keep himself safe. Shanghai still trying to maintain control of this high ground here for the moment as the cart starts rolling up again. Slowly yet surely making its way up the ramp out of the underpass.
Fleta got this pulse here.
Oh, well, Mono deleted yet again. Transcendence not in a position there from Jonak to try to keep him alive. The stick is going to be good, and Namo taken down after the res comes through. Mono res back into the fight, nearly has that Primal Rage online. Seems like he should be able to get it before he would be eliminated. Has to zap away a little bit longer. Goes onto the high ground, and there you go. I'm caster cursing now. Mono gets destroyed before he can pop the Primal Rage as he tries to put some pressure on Lip.
This is actually a really nice defense for Shanghai. Fleta's playing very well. They're playing very calmly. Fearless is actually playing mostly back. He's not playing very aggressively right now, and using Nano Boost to just outlast some of the dive we're seeing from York Excelsior. Here's an opportunity. Anamo, or rather, Lee Jae-gon is in position to res.
Yeah, got the body shot, couldn't line up the head there. Otherwise, Lip would have been gone as quickly as he had re-arrived. Fearless dives into the back line, Discord Orb out onto the Winston. So pops a Primal, looks at his play Sabiobi, takes him dangerously low, tries to go in for the pursuit, but clips the door there, so doesn't smoothly chase in to go ahead and finish off the enemy Tracer, who is just waiting with a pulse bomb. Forces Sabiobi to reposition yet again, and Fleta goes in, hounds him down, finds that kill. Now looks for another approach. It's a little bit of damage over onto Jonak. Stick out onto Hot Buzz. They try to finish off this Diva mech. Makes it low, and with the final shot from Lip, they will be able to find it and force that self-destruct.
Shanghai in a really nice position here to potentially just take this series away. If they can win this team fight, they go ahead and use the Nano. Fleta in good position to kill Libero, forcing the trance.
Yeah, they jump out around the corner. Pulse bomb out from Sabiobi off screen. Does manage to find Lip. The Transcendence going to be used, and Fearless will fall with the help of that Discord Orb. Jigon burns the res, puts Lip back into action, but he's already under fire. The cart rolls into point A. So now there's 3 minutes for NYXL to go push past a meter away from point B. If they can do that, they will have a map win on the board, and this series will continue.
So close for the Shanghai to take that. I mean, Fleta was doing so much work in the back line, forcing out that trance. New York used the trance to actually re-engage there and overwhelm Shanghai Dragons with extra healing. I actually like the swap back to the Zenyatta here for Jonak. It's been what's working for him most successfully throughout this series. Sure, it doesn't give him that extra healing throughput onto Mono, speaking of which, but it does give him extra damage output, that's for sure. Speaking of which.
Sure does. Just keep saying that, I guess. They're just going to keep bringing it up as soon as you do. Chasing in, still looking great peel there from the defense matrix, and it actually leads to Fleta getting punished in a pretty forward position. So Rez, yeah, way too risky. Very surprised that Lee Jae-gun decided to go for that, and does rightly get punished for it. Fearless, however, finds Libero, extending this a little bit further here for the team. Card, however, in the meantime, has been rolling forward, and this needs to get contested right now. Somebody will finally tag in. Fearless that far forward, doesn't pop the Primal Rage. The Discord Orb helps chew him up. And he does fall. Flip gets Anamo, however, so the rest is out of the fight. Jonek's got 0 HP at the moment, literally, now, as Fleta finishes him off.
Okay, this is a nice res onto Izuyaki. He has Nano Boost, so that's pretty critical to make sure that he's alive and set up for this team fight. Saebyeolbe being very aggressive right now. A Pulse Bomb for him can actually change everything. Void needs to be very careful, but where he's positioned, he needs to be able to leap forward and block that damage out. But he's not probably going to eat the Pulse Bomb, but he can eat a lot of the follow-up damage from Saebyeolbe if he does try to go for the Fearless Stick, which is definitely the safest option for Saebyeolbe for what's probably going to be the last real team fight New York gets here. They have a Transcendence. They need to use it wisely.
Fleta on the hunt, wrapping way around from behind.
He wants to force the Trance or kill Lib down here.
He sees him, wants to hold on. Great reaction instantly. Anamo there to get the pocket healing rolling, so they do not lose out on Libero. Ionate from Izuyaki, however, punishes Hotbutt, gets rid of the Baby Diva as he goes in for that self-destruct. Jonak holding on to the Transcendence, stretching a bit thin there, but does manage to pop it before he gets taken down. This Pulse Bomb, however, could be waiting for him on the back end of it. Libero dead, the one clip to the back of the skull, now no supports, 30 seconds remaining, and YXL have to be all in on this push.
It has to be so perfectly executed. Libero's going to have sight in 2 seconds here. Jonak swapping over to the Ana. They want extra healing output from Mono so he can get that Primal Rage. That's their only hope. There's the sight coming through from Libero. Saebyeolbe, can he find a Miracle Pulse? He's not in position to do so.
Start making their way forward. Anamo having swapped
there
over the Pulse Bomb from Saebyeolbe is good. Managed to find Izuyaki, but can they get more? Lee Jae-gun takes to the skies, has the Valkyrie, pops the Rez back into the fight instantly as the cart continues to inch forward here, getting closer and closer to the finish line, closer to an NYXL map victory on Watchpoint Gibraltar. Lip and Izuyaki both going to be eliminated. Mono goes up into the air looking for Lee Jae-gun. One more hit will finish him off, and Hotbutt is there. Fleta finds one with a Pulse Bomb, getting rid of the enemy Lucio as Void pops the self-destruct, but the bubbles are there to block out on the blast, so they do not find any kills as Libero sits back, relaxes, and pops heads. Gets Lip here at the end. The cart rolls through, and New York is not done yet. They will not settle for just a draw in a series and then getting swept thereafter. They are hungry to take this the distance. A map win comes through now, and we carry on.
Very, very impressive stuff from Libero. You know, you don't expect the Libero sub in to play exclusively Widowmaker. I mean, he has played Widowmaker in the past, and like this is his first career game of it or anything like that. But when you've got Nene on the lineup, when you've got Saebyeolbe on the lineup, for example, obviously he's playing Tracer in this case, and really good Tracer at that. It's a surprising pick, but he ends up being the hero of the day, right? And at the very end, he kills Void before Void can remech. He uses self-destruct to get that remech, and obviously to peel on the point a little bit. He gets blown up, and then he gets a second kill. Not Saebyeolbe, Libero, excuse me, gets a second kill there, a second headshot kill to just seal the deal on the point.
Yeah.
And things looked really dire for New York at that moment. Saebyeolbe comes in, gets the pulse onto Izuyaki. And New York want this, and they are not going down without a fight.
They certainly are not, and it's a really great sight for them. I'm sure it's got to be a big exhale of relief for them, but it's not going to last very long because they're getting ready to go straight into another map. Control is going to ride us out for these last potentially few maps here. Shanghai Dragons still just need one more to close this, and YXL going to be hungry for 2 control maps in a row. Lijiang Tower is going to be coming up next. We'll see if NYXL can in fact take us to a 6th map with a victory there when we return from the break, so don't go anywhere.
Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
And we are back, and the action continues to build, the tension rising as we get ready to go into another map here of the Overwatch League between the NYXL and the Shanghai Dragons. This is getting a little bit crazy, Wolf. Don't let them sleep. Wake them up. Give them a call. Well, Wolf, it sounds like you might be muted for the stream. If you want to double check your setup real quick.
Well, you know,
everything
I mean,
you just said, selling this match might not have gone out on air, but it's okay. Wolf said a lot of volatile things about how good this series is and how you guys should wake up your friends if they're sleeping through it. And I agree with him, just maybe without all the expletives that he said. But it was pretty compelling argument. So this is an incredible series.
I was a little bit intense about telling people they should not miss this match. We got a little delay. Production was like, well, I'm gonna mute that one. Yeah, but this is a pretty sick match. Like I was saying to you privately, Seth, apparently by accident. This is one of the best matches we've had in APAC, and this is one of New York's best playoff matches since 2018 that we're seeing right now, showing us a lot of depth. I mean, not getting I feel like the morale was never shattered for them. I mean, it's been close every map, so you know it's hard to get discouraged when you're playing that well. But the adaptation of putting Libero in on Widow for Gibraltar was smart. We've got Hawksall back in now as we move into Lijiang Tower, so it's going to be control from here on out. And I think we'll probably see more Hawksall. We'll probably see more Hawksall May. I don't think even if they win this one and we go that 6 map, that's right, 6 if you're tuning in late. We had a draw, and we're going the distance here. I don't think they'll sub Libero back, and I think it's going to be Hawksall for the rest of the series. But this is a really good one. I mean, this is I can't overstate how exciting and how back and forth this series has been. We've had a little bit of everything. We've had some Roadhog, we've had Tracer, we've had Tracer Sombra Dive, we've had Widowmaker, we've had Del Sniper, and it's been very close. Farah has made an appearance.
Yeah, Faro was there on that defense alongside the Roadhog. Fleta looked extremely good on that, and I'm curious to see if he's going to be, running that again here on Lijiang Tower, especially if Gardens is going to be one of the rounds that we get to see if it doesn't go to 3, because it looked really, really clean. We know that Hoxall is also a bit of a Pharah player himself. Also, worth talking about during the break, guys. I went back, I reviewed the tape. And I think we can excuse Mono what looked like a blunder on that Wrecking Ball in Volskaya, because I was curious. I said, you know what? No. Mono's not so bad that he would miss a grapple. Let me look. Yes, he was resetting. He was way deep behind enemy lines, and he wanted to swap to Winston, so he's resetting.
I wondered about that, too, because he was, like, when I saw that clip, I was like, he's in the wrong spot. This doesn't make sense. And at first I thought it was a flank, and then, because we didn't remember exactly what happened. But yeah, that makes more sense.
Yeah, I knew that all the Mono fans, I'm sure, were raging at us in the chat and whatnot. So I just want, I was like, you know what, he's better than that. So let me just double check, give him a benefit of the doubt, and I'm glad that I did because we were wrong on our first judgment. Well, so good job, Mono.
Mono never gets the full praise he deserves. I know the Mono fans out there are doing Mono's work on the internet, but he's playing Ryan, by the way, so Mono fans as well are going to be very excited about this. This is not a surprise to see this Hoxall on the Mei, like I was alluding to earlier. This is the best map for it. Shanghai is mirroring that, but they're keeping the Symmetra, in fact.
Oh, they are just pushing in onto him. They get the fear, the freeze out, not the fear, onto him, and they go ahead, collapse in on top of the Reinhardt, and this is a very strong start. As Lip teleports behind the wall to get the break on the mech. That was beautifully played from Lip.
Yeah, Lip, he has played the Sombra every now and then. Early on in the season especially, we saw it from him a few times. Or sorry, I don't know, what did I say?
Sombra.
Well, he has played a lot of Sombra too. So I was
wrong,
has
done
but
that.
Yeah, Symmetra. Yeah, Symmetra is pretty good actually. And Wall here gonna try to cut somebody off. Void gets flash banged, but he's gonna be safe.
Yeah, doesn't quite hit that initial headshot to save Yolvi, but he does manage to follow up for a kill on the Lip, but not before losing Mono. Now with an ammo gone, their move speed is going to be severely reduced as they try to exit. So Shanghai Dragons still just going to be holding this point rather comfortably as Jonak is going to to be delayed for a little bit.
They said that the roll lock was going to stop goats. Achilles, they said there was going to be no more goats. I think Jeff Kaplan wrote me a note, the sign, and promised me there'd be no more goats. He told everybody there's no more goats. That's the end of it. But sometimes on Lijiang Tower, you get as close to goats as you can get. This is where goats started in Korea. Kongdu Panthera only using it on this part of Lijiang Tower. And I mean, all the choke points make it very difficult to circumvent all the ultimates that can be set up here. And Blizzard is almost ready for Fleta, so that's why you see this, sort of Boots-esque style here, this death ball.
Yeah, and Lip's been so intelligent with his teleporter placement thus far that in New York, they can't even just pop a speed boost and run at the Shanghai Dragons and try to take a fight that way and just go brawly because they are just out navigating them by teleporting around the map. Graviton Surge going to be thrown in here from Void. Wall comes up to try and deter anybody from pushing forward, but Fleta finds Sebiobi, the tank line broken down. And Shanghai Dragons are not fooling around right now. They say, you know what? This is cute. 6 maps is fine. It's more than we thought that you were going to get to, but I
mean, there's just no way. There's no recourse here. There's no real fight for New York. I mean, Mono does somehow escape to tag for overtime, or does he? Okay, it's actually they're still going to touch, but I mean, they don't have a real team fight here.
Yeah, the bubble looks pretty good. Shatter down straight onto Sebiobi, and nobody else can touch map 5. I misspoke with the 6. But yeah, a lot of ults at the end in celebration of the victory. 100% to 0. Shanghai Dragons absolutely massacre the NYXL on Control Center.
This is, that's a dominant start, but this is going to be, as we head into Gardens, a very different style of play. You can't run that Goats-esque, Symmetra, Reinhardt, Mei, Batiste style here. A lot bigger sight lines. Shanghai Dragons, I was going to say, they show the Mei in the hero selection for just a second, but I really don't think you want to run that here. You're just going to get out-poked and outranged a lot of the time. They're actually going to go all in on a different style here of controlling the point, which is the Reaper, whereas New York Excelsior going full dive. Yeah, like we started. I mean, it's almost exactly the same as how the series started.
Press their way forward, a hack out on the Fearless. Shanghai flying one onto Jonak, looking for the poop off, cannot find it. Jonak takes down Lip. Haksal already with a lead is going to be able to surge forward now towards that EMP charge, barring himself getting picked off. Mono just rolls through, nearly has a minefield up ready to go before the point has even been locked down by either side. So Yobi into the back line, finds Izayaki, killing him before Coalescence can come in to try and extend this fight further for the Shanghai Dragons. And with that, follow-up kills come through as Void will fall.
Mono got minefield. Sabiobi, before Sabiobi gets a pulse here, Mono got majority of the eliminations in that last fight, was swinging around the middle like it was a Gold League ranked game for a second there. Shanghai just could not lock him down. Then he's getting insane value out of his grapple. And now Shanghai Dragons approach, they don't have the EMP, they don't have good initiation here outside of Coalescence, but Jonak could just match that. No, they don't see Sabiobi.
Minefield out of the point with the pile driver going through. Pulse bomb going to be dropped down onto the ground, but the explosion will not find any damage as Izayaki has the Coalescence rolling through. Self-destruct out from Hotba. Won't find any kills as Anamo looking to hold on to the sound barrier as long as he possibly can. Lip will find Haksal, but it's at the cost of so much here for the Shanghai Dragons as Void loses out on the mech as well. Fearless just going to be leaping back over towards his spawn. Knows that the fight is not really going to be winnable. That being said, okay, well, Lee Jae-gon, he got one, but then he got sent off way into the distance off the side of the map.
Yeah, I don't think Anamo is going to mind too much speed boosting his way back onto the point, or rather back to his teammates. Lip just trying to get the last 3% here of that EMP. Mission successful. They're going to look for the EMP combo with the bomb. Mono disrupts it, though. At the cost
I
of
like
life.
that, though. They just go ahead, solo commit the EMP, but now can they survive the follow-up fight? Void eats the pulse bomb from Sabiobi. Anamo, however, does manage to find Lip, sending him off the side of the map before that hack from Haxal's EMP expired, so he couldn't translocate back up to safety. Sound barrier from Lee Jae-gon, however, is extending the fight for the remaining 5 members of the Shanghai Dragons, and they are winning it out and looking for the flip on the point. 92% built up here on the point for the side of the NYXL, trying to get that to 99, but it's not quite going to happen. And Shanghai Dragons finally have broken through and gotten on the board.
Yeah, Shanghai Dragons here, if they can continue this trend of ult efficiency, you know, just like we saw in our 3rd round of the beginning of this series, right? If you guys remember all the way back to Oasis, they were extremely ult efficient with their Sombra, and that's what they're going to look to do here again. I mean, right now it's neck and neck between Lip and Haksal in terms of that EMP charge. If Shanghai wins this fight, though, they can really start to snowball this back into their favor and delete all the hard work that New York started on this round.
Another minefield down, looking to go ahead and cut off the members of the Shanghai Dragons, but Fleta finds Sabiobi, gets the better of him in the 1v1, finishing him off with that melee hit. Now looks to pursue forward, holding on to this pulse bomb. Spots out Mono, who's taking a lot of damage, cannot survive, does get picked off. Shanghai Dragons just go ahead and continue holding this point for now. 45% on the board for themselves.
Both times we've had a pretty big commitment and attempted minefield engaged for New York Excelsior. Izayaki's had Coalescence, and it's a really nice tool to clear minefield. So on the point, Izayaki's had mine removal both times here, and that's been huge for them.
Self-destruct out the pulse bomb, not going to connect, and Lip gets picked off by the self-destruct. An absolutely huge find here for Hotba, further delaying that EMP. Fleta, however, strikes back, finding Haksal and Amo, both going to be taken down as Fearless looks to smack some people off the side of the map. Sees the recall used from Sabiobi, chases in to try to get the kill, but thinks better of it, doesn't want to overextend. Mono manages to find one, but Shanghai Dragons still control the point for now, and Lee Jae-gon has that sound barrier ready to go, just waiting for the EMP to come out, but he's gonna get caught by it. Haksal finds the Lucio. Lip gonna be the first one to fall now, Flutter gonna be taken down, and YXL have the point back into their control. It's 99% now, and Shanghai Dragons have to desperately try to fight tooth and nail to get this back into their favor. Sound barrier is out.
It's definitely winnable.
Lee Jae-gon as well as the tanks. Self-destruct comes through from Void, looks for a pick, can't find one. Haksal eludes that with a translocator to jump back, and Lee Jae-gon is now out of the fight. Izayaki, Coalescence Rollings cannot keep Fearless alive. They pursue forward, looking for some additional kills as Fleta finds one with the pulse bomb, but Void is going to be demexed, so now they don't have that defense matrix to mitigate a lot of the damage to potentially eat this pulse bomb that Sabiobi has at the ready. Fleta tries to stay alive, he cannot do so. The pulse bomb finishes off the baby diva, and the point gets locked down. Huge turnaround now for the NYXL, taking us to a third and final round night market to decide whether or not we will have that map 6.
Really good composure on the side of New York Excelsior in that moment where Shanghai Dragons come back in. Lee Gon's sound barrier, Lips coming in for re-engage, has pulse bomb, or rather, excuse me, EMP ready. Fled is actually the one who pulse bombs and gets a kill there. And New York Excelsior split. They stay away from Lips EMP, which happens just moments before that pulse, as best as they can, and are able to outlast what could have been a really big swing and big turnaround in that last fight for the Shanghai Dragons. So excellently done, hanging by a thread here, trying to bring us to that 6th map. And once again, we are just going to see this Tracer Wrecking Ball Sombra style versus Shanghai Dragons running the Winston. No Reaper this time around, just going straight into the dive.
Trying to apply as much pressure as they can. Mono going in for the split. Rolls through a couple members of the Shanghai Dragons, displacing them, but not able to isolate anybody for them to get picked off. Just instilling chaos right now in the positioning of the Dragons members. Point unlocked, mostly capped at the moment here for the Shanghai Dragons as they look to seal the deal on that. They press forward. Coalescence already built up by Izayaki. Jonek now matching. He pulls a trigger simultaneously. Hack not going to go off, but Void will get caught by Hawksall's. Pulse bomb out from Sabiobi, not able to find any kills, but Fleta holds on to one of his own, but he will not get to use it here. Gets taken down, the sound barrier a little bit too late to try to keep Fleta in the fight. Namo holding on to one of his own. This very well could be a turnaround perhaps for the side of the NYXL, but that being said, Hoppa is dead. NYXL might just go ahead and peel back as the EMP from Blip catches both of the supports. Now that that's out of the fight, Anamo goes ahead, pulls the trigger, drops the beat. As they look to take this point, 30% currently on the board for the Shanghai Dragons as the primal range rolls from Fearless, looking for a target, but everybody is kind of dipping and dodging away from this Winston. Mono gone, Lee J gone, now taken out of the fight, Fearless falling as well, and YXL might just be able to make this happen. Pressing around the side, Sabiobi gets the pop on Void's mech, waiting to try and find the Baby Diva, but Mono's Minefield will do the job for him. Pulse bomb ready. Probably doesn't need to be used as New York take control as Shanghai hit 50%.
I want to see how proactive Hawksall is here right now, because this is really up to him right now. Everything that they're trying to accomplish is going to be based on his play. It was a pretty hopeful pulse bomb attempt there from Sabiobi. It's actually going to be a tool they wish they're going to have for this oncoming assault for the Shanghai Dragons. But Hawksall is aggressive. He gets to the last 20% of that EMP. They're going to use Cole, and he's looking to set this up. There it is. EMP
comes out. Hawksall, the first one to fall. Lee J gone to smack him in the face. Does manage to find the kill. The bomb. You can't hide behind that flimsy table. Lee J gone does get eliminated by Hotba. Anamo under some fire here. The pulse bomb helping to take him down. The damage will claims the kill. Fleta will find Sabiobi, and just like that, Shanghai Dragons back over to the point, wresting control out of the hands of the New York Excelsior.
This is going to be... I mean, that couldn't have gone much worse for New York, unfortunately, with all the tools they had to use. I mean, the bomb getting that stray kill is just a consolation prize. It's not going to help them onto the point. It's another ultimate gone. And now, Shanghai Dragons have positional advantage, and Fearless's Primal is coming online. This is one of those maps where that can actually be quite impactful. They could actually set up for some environmental kills on the approach. Anamo, if he has a sound barrier first, they're in serious trouble here.
DJ gone, hacked, tried to get that boot off the side of the map from Hawksall, unable to do so. The rest of New York, yeah, they pile in on top of the Lucio, just making sure that they kill him off so he cannot use that sound barrier. Pile Driver comes in, interrupts Fearless with the primal range. Hack now out onto Fleta. That much less mobility for the Tracer. Self-destruct tossed in from Void, doesn't manage to find any kills, and instead gets punished by Mono. It does not allow him to remech. Sabiobi still on the hunt, tries to lob out that pulse bomb to get a stick. Can't quite find it, but New York Excelsior are very much winning the overall fight. Flip comes in as Shanghai hits 99%, and New York have to be all in on this hold.
Fleta here, barely saved right now by Void, but as you say, they can't afford to lose a single team fight. Lee J gone, killed, and before he could use the sound barrier, hacked and killed there in that previous fight, but he still holds it now, so he still has the answer for Hawksall's EMP, and he's been so good at those all day.
Flip uses his own EMP, manages to find 3. Hawksall responding. The sound barrier comes out from Lee J gone, counteracting their best efforts. Pulse bomb already got rid of Sabiobi. Hotpa lost out on the mech. Hawksall trying to stay alive, will get picked off by Lee J gone. The Baby Diva finished off. The Minefield now dropped in from Mono, who's down below half HP. Pile Driver hits. He manages to help finish off Fleta. The Coalescence from Jonek takes out Izayaki. Shanghai Dragons are back in control of the point at 99%. The OT starting to bleed away. Jonak falls, but Sabiobi fights back yet again, finding Fearless. Now Lee Jae-gon falling lower and lower. Will get taken down by the captain of the New York squad. Flip comes back through, and New York Excelsior again manages to hold on.
This is looking like we might be going to that 6th map right now, Achilleo. Shanghai Dragons need a miracle fight here. They're going to have the coalescence for the engage, but Anamo should be able to outlast it with a sound barrier. Zabiobi here playing passive, does not want to get picked off. He does not want to get a stray killed here. Does have to blink away.
Flutter's got Pulse Bomb. This could be absolutely huge. Already Hoxall going to be eliminated. Likely not going to be seeing another EMP. Flutter goes in. He gets a one clip onto the Baby Diva. Now Anamo's going to be gone. The sound barrier doesn't mean anything. They take him out, and what a heartbreaker of a way for this to end, barring a miracle from the side of the New York Excelsior. Mono is still alive, still in the fight with the pulse bomb from Zabiobi. Going to be snatched up from Void with the D-Matrix. Doesn't get an opportunity to try and turn this around. Jonak is gone now. Mono eliminated the OT, bleeding away steadily here. Hotbot tagging back and forces it out for a little bit longer. Makes his way onto the point to try to buy as much time as he humanly can, but Mono is gone before he can get the minefield. Hoxall hacked, nowhere to go, gets eliminated. The OT bleeds away, and the Shanghai Dragons will be able to take Lijiang Tower. They close this out on map number 5. They say, no, NYXL, you'll be moving down to the losers bracket as we had planned. But man, what a series for New York Wolf. Even like at the start of this, I said, if they can make this a very close series against the Shanghai Dragons, New York fans, the team should still hold their head high, and that is exactly what they did. This was a nail-biter.
Yeah, it certainly was. I mean, I was just peeking over at the cams there for the Shanghai Dragons. Everyone looks pretty relieved and ecstatic. Besides Lip, who's the slideshow of emotionless faces, which is what he normally looks like after a win and a loss. But I feel like maybe Lip is like, well, it should not have been that close. And it was very close. That series that Shanghai was able to just force the end of there with Fleta picking up a triple kill at the end. And, you know, I would personally, from the eye test, from what we were seeing, I felt like he got outclassed by Sabiobi for the last 2 maps there in terms of the Tracer play. But at the last second, when it matters most, he comes up big. And it looked like New York was bringing us to the 6th map. It looked like we'd already signed the contract. We'd already sent it out. Like, we're going to a 6th map. The deal's done. But it did not happen that way. What a comeback there in the last moment. Shanghai Dragons will advance in the winner's bracket.
That they do. NYXL do fall down to the losers bracket, but if they can continue playing this way against other opponents, I don't think that there's much to be concerned about, because they looked absolutely phenomenal for the majority of this series. Very, very close. I mean, the draw on King's Row all the way throughout, this was just very neck and neck. We talked about it during the game break, Wolf. The Sombra play was like maybe the one thing that if they could bring it up a level, might have been enough to push NYXL across the finish line. That didn't happen. But the guy who's consistently shutting down the Sombra plays is our player of the match. That's Lee Jae-gon, your player of the match presented by Xfinity. We're seeing a lot more support to players of the match as of late, it would seem.
You took the words out of my mouth. I was literally going to say we've seen a lot of support player of the matches in recent times, because it's so important right now to have a support that can really set up these big plays. And Lee Jae-gon hounded Hoxall down, sometimes actually what's the word I'm searching for here? This match is actually taking words out of my mouth. It's so exciting. He kind of was involved in, I suppose, a lot of kills of Hoxall, spy checking him, helping set up for those chases, where Lip was able to kill Hoxall in that Sombra duel. He's shut down so many EMPs, and at this point in time, I mean, look, it's 2020. We've had Sombra out for, you know, over 3 years now. It's not a shocker. You know how to kill EMPs with a sound barrier, right? You press Q, you don't get caught by the EMP. But the consistency to which he was able to hit it, and how much he was able to survive while Sabiobi was also trying to track him down and threaten him so that he would get caught by the EMP, with Hoxall nonstop trying to right-click hack him. He survived. His Mercy play was phenomenal as well throughout parts of Gibraltar there. So I really have to say, I mean, Lee Jae-gon is finally starting to get the credit he deserves in the West, and he's been a great Brigitte all year long as well. The guy is someone you and I have watched his pro career since, you know, the very beginning when he was on Runaway, his very first season here in Korea, and now he's potentially going to be an Overwatch League champion if things continue this way.
Could be an Overwatch League champion, could be Rookie of the Year. You know, there's a lot of things on the horizon for this guy that could potentially crop up. But I mean, man, what a what a series overall. And we're just getting started. That's
only
just,
half of it.
Match number 1. That's only match number 1 of the evening. We still have one more coming up, and I think it's still going to be just as exciting. We've got the Seoul Dynasty getting ready to go up against the Guangzhou Charge. Seoul Dynasty looking phenomenal with Gesture's Roadhog play just yesterday. It's been a little while since we've seen the Guangzhou Charge because they have that forward seeding given their records here in the 2020 season. So we have to see what those guys are going to bring to the table. Maybe have some old familiar faces coming back into the fray with Nero and Neptuno being back in Korea. We'll have to wait and find out. That series is going to be coming up in just a little bit, guys. We got to decompress, take a breath, and get ready for that next series. So we'll see you in just a few.